Chapter 1196. Jun Xiaoyao's figure was slender and otherworldly. His white clothes fluttered without wind. After the initial divine splendor dissipated, Jun Xiaoyao's aura was restrained, and he looked ethereal and simple. However, he always gave people an indescribable feeling. It was as if the place where Jun Xiaoyao stood was the center of the universe. It was a very strange feeling. Naturally, they didn't know that this was a special feeling that Jun Xiaoyao emitted after cultivating a small world. This feeling could be described with a word: the Lord of the World. Yes, Jun Xiaoyao could now be called the Lord of a small world. That was why he gave people a feeling that he was the ruler of the world. Jun Xiaoyao's appearance was like a stabilizing force, calming down everyone from the Immortal Academy who had been feeling rather uneasy. Even the great elder of Immortal Academy secretly breathed a sigh of relief. It was as if as long as Jun Xiaoyao appeared, all problems would no longer be a problem. There were also people who were curious about how far Jun Xiaoyao had reached after cultivating in seclusion for a period of time. Did he make a breakthrough? However, as long as Jun Xiaoyao didn't want to, even a quasi-emperor would find it difficult to see through him. After all, as a fateless one with the sky-stealing sun-swapping technique, there weren't many people who could see through Jun Xiaoyao. Even Di Haotian's silver eyes of illusion breaker couldn't see through him. Jun Xiaoyao first glanced at Jiang Tianyan, who still had a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth. In the blink of an eye, a drop of spring water from the spring of life fell into Jiang Tianyan's hand. Jiang Tianyan was overjoyed. He cupped his hands and said, "Thank you, young master. Don't forget that Jun Xiaoyao also had another identity. He was the young master of the Jiang family." This generosity. The corners of the eyes of the surrounding people twitched. That was the spring of life, a rare divine object of heaven and earth. A drop of spring water was comparable to a divine pill, but Jun Xiaoyao gave it away so casually. "Daddy." Little Evers now was overjoyed. She threw herself into Jun Xiaoyao's arms and rubbed her little head against Jun Xiaoyao's chest. She was like a spoiled kitten. "Big brother Xiaoyao, you've finally come out." Jiang Luoli was also delighted. Luo Xiangling also came to Jun Xiaoyao's side. There were also his followers, friends, the geniuses of the Jun family and the Jiang family, and so on. It could be said that in this circle, Jun Xiaoyao was the absolute backbone. As long as he was there, everyone's heart could calm down. Meanwhile, the people from the three great taboo families were left to the side. Jun Xiaoyao did not seem to care about their identities and backgrounds at all. "Jun Xiaoyao, you've finally shown yourself. Stop being a coward." Yu Qian took a step forward as cold lightning flashed in his eyes. "Jun Xiaoyao, how are you going to settle this debt with Brother Daoi?" Ji Yingying also stepped forward. "Jun Xiaoyao, you have the inheritance of the ancient chaos." This made the forbidden zone behind the Jin family a little unhappy. "Of course, you are the son of God of the Jun family. Your identity is different. As long as you are willing to give up the inheritance of the ancient chaos and hand over the ancient chaos imperial talisman, we can let you go." A heavenly venerable powerhouse stepped out from the Jin family. The people from the three great taboo families did not deliberately. However, that innate sense of superiority still leaked out from between the lines. It could be said that among the living beings that Jun Xiaoyao had seen, apart from the Heaven clan, only these living beings of the 9 heavens were so arrogant. Even the living beings of the foreign realm were not arrogant to this extent. They were just warlike and bloodthirsty. However, Jun Xiaoyao was not angry. There was not even a trace of anger on his face. He first looked at Yu Qian and said, "So, what do you want?" Yu Qian sensed that something was wrong, but he could not tell what was wrong. He still said, "It's very simple. First, we will take this woman away. She doesn't belong here, and you can't protect her." Yu Qian pointed at Jiang Luoli. "I will only stay by Big Brother Xiaoyao's side. I won't go anywhere." Jiang Luoli stubbornly stood beside Jun Xiaoyao. What else? Jun Xiaoyao was still smiling faintly, as if he wanted to negotiate. Also, you killed my brother, Yu Kuan. Your identity is indeed not ordinary. Not to mention paying with your life, but you have to apologize to my brother's spirit in heaven. Also, you need to compensate him. For example, the spring of life you gave before is not bad. Also, you seem to have obtained the 6 paths of reincarnation immortal root in the void sky realm. Yu Qian's words were already very clear. These words made many disciples of the Immortal Academy a bit angry. They were really treating Jun Xiaoyao like a fat sheep to be slaughtered. The geniuses of the Jun family and Jiang family were even more furious. In the immortal realm, Jun Xiaoyao's identity was incomparably noble. Who dared to demand from him like this? However, Jun Xiaoyao's expression was still calm. He raised his hand and gestured for everyone to be quiet. The surroundings became quiet. What about you? Jun Xiaoyao looked at Ji Yingying. Ji Yingying's heart also jumped when she was stared at by Jun Xiaoyao like this. It had to be said that this was the first time she had seen such a handsome man. However, in her mind, when she thought of Ji Daoi's face, her expression immediately became firm. I don't want much. I only want you to sincerely apologize to Big Brother Daoi and comfort his spirit in heaven. Jun Xiaoyao didn't say anything. He didn't ask the Jin family again. Because the Jin family had already given him their conditions. They wanted him to give up the ancient chaos inheritance and hand over the ancient chaos imperial talisman at the same time. It seems like you don't understand my character. You only heard some of my deeds. Also, your attitude, apart from the fact that you have the Forbidden Clan backing you, is because you think that the Jun family is under the curse of calamity and doesn't want to make enemies? Jun Xiaoyao's words exposed the truth. The 3 forbidden clans didn't say anything, but it was obvious that they meant this. If the Jun family wasn't under the curse of calamity, they might be a little more restrained. However, what you said is indeed correct. Jun Xiaoyao nodded slightly out of character. This surprised the disciples of the 4 Directions Immortal Academy. Was this still the domineering son of God of the Jun family? Sigh, it seems that even you have a time when you have to admit defeat. In the distance, the Son of Truth of the Gulan sect stood in the void and shook his head with a smile. Back then, when I retreated in the face of the Heaven Clan, many people secretly mocked me. Now, aren't you the same, Jun Xiaoyao? On the other side, Huang Niedao also watched from afar and said to himself coldly. However, before everyone could be surprised, Jun Xiaoyao continued. I'm very sorry. I was wrong. My mistake was that first, I should have let you brothers reunite and not be separated by life and death. Second, I'm also very sorry about Ji Daoi's death. You were so loyal to him. I should have thought of a way to send you to meet him. Third, as the successor of Ancient Chaos, I'm very sorry. 3 sentences. 3 apologies. Everyone was silent. At this moment, everyone felt that something was wrong. Jun Xiaoyao wasn't such a person. Yu Gan and the others' hearts skipped a beat. An extreme sense of danger rose in their hearts. In the next moment, they saw the white-robed figure appear in front of them. I'm very merciful. I'll let you brothers reunite. Jun Xiaoyao still had a smile on his face. He casually slapped down with his palm. The power of 3,000 Sumeru worlds surged. He didn't need to use any techniques. A single palm strike was the most terrifying move, breaking all techniques with brute force. Yu Gan finally realized that Jun Xiaoyao wasn't apologetic at all. He was just ridiculing him. How dare you? Jun Xiaoyao, do you really think that I'm on the same level as those geniuses of the Immortal region? Yu Gan roared angrily and unleashed his cultivation. As a young expert close to the supreme stage, his strength had indeed surpassed the geniuses of the Immortal region. However, Pucci, the sound of a watermelon exploding rang out. Yu Gan's primordial spirit and physical body were smashed into pieces. He couldn't resist at all. The geniuses of the Forbidden Clan had fallen. And you, I'll fulfill your wish and send you to meet Ji Daoi. Jun Xiaoyao countered with a palm strike, launching another attack at Ji Yingying at lightning speed. No. Ji Yingying only spat out one word before her delicate body was smashed into meat paste. Blood and bones splattered everywhere. It was a tragic sight. Her primordial spirit was directly destroyed. There was no chance of her escaping. And you guys? Jun Xiaoyao deliberately used Ancient Chaos's technique, the Chaotic Sky secret technique, Cross Starfield. He attacked the Jin family's Heavenly Venerate. I'm a Heavenly Venerate. The Jin family's Heavenly Venerate roared angrily. He wasn't considered a member of the younger generation. His strength was extraordinary. However, the result was the same. His body was cut into 4 pieces by the Cross Starfield. His primordial spirit was also destroyed. 3 moves. 3 people died. This is my answer to you. Chapter 1197. A cold and indifferent voice resounded throughout the entire 9 Heavens Immortal Academy. Jun Xiaoyao's sleeves fluttered. His white robe fluttered, and his black hair fluttered in the wind. He stood tall in the vast universe. His eyes were indifferent, looking down on the past and present. Domineering. Swift and decisive. 9 heavens. Forbidden areas. Forbidden families. In his eyes, they were worse than dog **T. Everyone, please don't misunderstand. I'm not deliberately targeting any forbidden areas. I'm saying that the 3 forbidden families are all trash. Does anyone have any objections? Jun Xiaoyao stood with his hands behind his back and said casually. He wasn't deliberately targeting them, nor was he deliberately insulting them. Naturally, he said something that he thought was only natural. Everyone was speechless. Everyone was dead silent. The entire 9 Heavens Immortal Academy was so quiet that one could hear a pin drop. Not to mention Immortal Academy's side. The people of the 3 great families were all dumbfounded. After coming to their senses, the people of the Yu family were the first to fly into a rage. Because Yu Qian was a core genius of the Yu family, but he was killed by Jun Xiaoyao with a single palm. Jun Xiaoyao, how dare you? No one can save you. A grand heavenly venerable expert of the Yu family was so angry that his head was muddled. He didn't care about Jun Xiaoyao's identity anymore. He threw out a punch and was about to kill him. However, before Immortal Academy's Grand Elder and the others could make a move, Jun Xiaoyao was the first to make a move. His 5 fingers clenched into a fist, and he also threw out a punch. The power of 3,000 worlds combined with the divine demon ant clan's heaven-splitting fist. It was also supported by the law of strength. This punch was the embodiment of power. Is the Jun family's son of God crazy? Many Immortal Academy disciples subconsciously exclaimed. Before, Jun Xiaoyao was only a supreme. No matter how strong he was, he couldn't defy the heavens when facing a grand heavenly venerable expert. No, the Jun family's son of God broke through to the lesser heavenly venerable level. No, not only lesser heavenly venerable, this is the peak lesser heavenly venerable level, close to the greater heavenly venerable level. Everyone was shocked. Countless Immortal Academy disciples' eyes widened. They were so shocked that their scalps went numb, and their pupils were trembling. In a single seclusion, he had directly broken through from sovereign to complete lesser heavenly venerable, and in such a short period of time. Forget about those Immortal Academy disciples. Even Immortal Academy's great elder was stupefied. What kind of cheat is this? How is that possible? However, even a lesser heavenly venerate is fundamentally different from a greater heavenly venerate. In the distance, the Son of Truth was shocked, but he quickly consoled himself. But in the next moment, the cold reality was like a ruthless slap to the Child of Truth's face. Boom! Their fists collided. Jun Xiaoyao's punch pierced through the void and shattered the heavens. The great stars in the universe were shaking, trembling, and falling down, forming a meteor shower. After a single punch, he was reduced to ashes. The Yu family's Grand Empyrean no longer existed. Dead silence. This was a complete and utter silence. Killing a Grand Empyrean with one punch. Even an expert of the same level would not be able to do it so cleanly. The pinnacle state. Could it be that the Jun family's Son of God broke through to lesser heavenly venerable from the pinnacle state? That's right, this is the only possibility. Only by stepping into the pinnacle state can one have such overwhelming power. The Immortal Academy disciples couldn't help but exclaim. But to be honest, their imaginations were somewhat limited. Because in their eyes, the pinnacle state of 9 Tao laws was the peak, the most perfect state. Luo Xiaoyao was an anomaly. What was an anomaly? If it could be imagined by everyone, then it was not an anomaly. Only Luo Xiangling, Great Elder, and the other quasi-emperors and Tao masters vaguely sensed it. Jun Xiaoyao's terrifying combat strength did not seem to be limited to the power of the pinnacle state. Jun Xiaoyao, you've gone too far. Jun Xiaoyao, you're too presumptuous. Today, we'll teach you a lesson on behalf of the Jun family's ancestors, an ignorant junior. The experts of the 3 families shouted angrily and summoned their trump cards at the same time. The Yu family summoned a stone statue. The stone statue shone, emitting emperor's might. Vaguely, a blurry figure appeared. This stone statue was integrated with a wisp of the great emperor's spiritual aura. The Ji family also summoned the painting from before. The painting unfolded, and thousands of miles of mountains and rivers appeared, as if it could suppress heaven and earth and the universe. This was definitely the work of the great emperor. It was an immortal painting left behind by the great emperor himself. The Jin family summoned a token, which was also filled with emperor's might, and a blurry emperor's shadow appeared. It could be said that as a forbidden family in the 9 heavens, their foundation was extremely deep. Any supreme treasure that was stained with the emperor's aura would be able to intimidate everyone in all directions. Luo Xiangling and Fufeng of Gojoseon, the 2 quasi-emperors, saw this and wanted to help Jun Xiaoyao resist. However, Jun Xiaoyao's expression was still calm. He waved his hand, indicating for the others not to make such a fuss. Then, Jun Xiaoyao also summoned a talisman. However, this attracted the sneers of the 3 great forbidden families. You want to block the emperor's supreme treasures of our 3 clans with a random talisman? The people of the 3 great forbidden families were disdainful. Jun Xiaoyao sighed and shook his head. Didn't you see clearly whose talisman it is? The people of the 3 great forbidden families were stunned. The other disciples of Immortal Academy also looked over. There were only 2 lines of words on it. A gentleman's order. No regrets in life. That's the white-robed Divine King's talisman. Some people cried out. The talisman that Jun Wuhui gave to Jun Xiaoyao bloomed with thousands of streaks of brilliance. Vaguely, a hazy white-robed figure appeared, sitting in the center of the vast universe. A vast pressure swept through heaven and earth. That was an aura of supremacy, one that could laugh at the world. In front of this majestic aura, even emperor's might was just that. It's the white-robed Divine King, the hero of our immortal domain. Lord Divine King. In the battle against the foreign calamity, other than Jun Xiaoyao, Jun Wuhui was undoubtedly an unparalleled hero. Jun Xiaoyao had at least borrowed the power of the divine spirit body. However, Jun Wuhui had forcibly transformed from the Divine King physique to the absolute beginning Divine King physique. He was a fierce person who fought against the ultimate calamity with his own strength. After that, there were even more experts who speculated. If Jun Wuhui had verified his Tao, he would be incomparably terrifying. He might become one of the strongest emperors in history. He might even be able to enter the emperor rankings. The so-called emperor rankings was the ranking of the strongest emperors in the immortal domain. It could be said that as long as one could enter the emperor rankings, they would be a legend. Ancient chaos, demon god, no end, heaven abandoning, these former emperors had all entered the emperor rankings. Some great figures speculated that Jun Wuhui could enter the emperor rankings. This was already the highest praise. At this moment, Jun Xiaoyao took out Jun Wuhui's talisman and released endless brilliance. That figure was hazy, only a corner of his white clothes fluttering in the wind. I can feel that father's aura has become stronger. Through this talisman, Jun Xiaoyao could vaguely sense Jun Wuhui's condition. He was looking forward to Jun Wuhui's return. At that time, father and son would be united. What 9 heavens? What forbidden lands? Overturn them all. The Jun clan is unparalleled in the world. Boom. The white-robed divine king's phantom directly suppressed the 3 great forbidden families' treasures until they trembled and then vibrated. Finally, with a loud bang, they collapsed. This was also normal. There were strong and weak emperors too. These 3 treasures were just stained with emperor's aura. As for Jun Wuhui, he was in existence who had truly killed the foreign immortal king and fought against the ultimate calamity head-on. Ordinary emperors were not qualified to confront Jun Wuhui. As the 3 treasures exploded, the people of the 3 great forbidden families were sent flying while vomiting blood. Stop, stop. That group of people from the Forbidden Clan, who had always been high and mighty, finally trembled. They lowered their prideful heads, wanting Jun Xiaoyao to stop. The Jun family's son of God won't be too ruthless, right? Yeah, after all, he has already killed some people of the forbidden families. If all of them are wiped out, it will attract the attention of the 3 great forbidden lands. Even the Jun family will be under a lot of pressure, right? Many disciples of Immortal Academy in the surroundings were pondering. However, Jun Xiaoyao's expression was still indifferent. The hearts of the people of the 3 great forbidden families suddenly turned cold and sank to the bottom. Jun Xiaoyao, you don't really dare to... Before the people of the forbidden families could finish their words, the powerful aura of a godly emperor crushed the people of the 3 forbidden clans into pieces and turned them into a bloody mist. Between heaven and earth, there was only a rain of blood drifting down. The 3 great forbidden families came to the lower realm, but in the end they were all wiped out. Not a single one was left alive. The entire Immortal Academy fell into an unprecedented silence. Even the Son of Truth, Huang Niedao, and the others who were extremely displeased with Jun Xiaoyao were dumbfounded. Was he really that stubborn? Jun Xiaoyao's eyelids didn't even move from the beginning to the end. What a farce! Everyone dispersed. Jun Xiaoyao put away the talisman, turned around, waved his sleeves, and left with his hands behind his back. He didn't deliberately put on an act, but it always gave people the feeling that he was pretending. A group of dumbfounded, stunned, and petrified disciples of Immortal Academy were left. What a farce! Little did they know that this farce was enough to shake the immortal realm and the 9 heavens. Only then did they understand. In front of Jun Xiaoyao, even the 9 heavens had to bow their heads. Chapter 1198. Today, everyone from Immortal Academy widened their horizons. As the vanguard of the 9 heavens, the Forbidden Clan could be said to represent the 9 heavens. But now, they were mercilessly wiped out by Jun Xiaoyao. It could be said that if it were anyone else, even if they had the ability to wipe out the Forbidden Clan, they wouldn't be so ruthless. After all, many people knew that the future chaos would start from the Forbidden Clan. Offending the Forbidden Clan now, and becoming a thorn in their side, was obviously not a wise choice. However, Jun Xiaoyao did it without hesitation or regret. It's good to have a powerful background. You can do anything without any worries. When can I be like the Son of God, looking down on the 9 heavens and the Forbidden Clan? Some Immortal Academy disciples sighed. That's not right. Could it be that the curse of calamity doesn't affect the Jun family at all? That shouldn't be the case. There were also many people who were puzzled. They couldn't figure out the Jun family's background. In the distance, the Son of Truth silently glanced at Jun Xiaoyao. He's only a lesser heavenly venerable, but he can kill ordinary greater heavenly venerables. Moreover, he has reached the pinnacle, the strength that Jun Xiaoyao displayed made the Son of Truth speechless. Then, he silently left. If he didn't have any other methods, he wouldn't be Jun Xiaoyao's opponent at all. On the other side, Huang Nie Dao's expression was also cold. He left without saying a word. As the son of the ancient emperor, he was extremely confident in his talent and bloodline. He was very proud. However, this confidence and pride were shattered in front of Jun Xiaoyao. It even seemed so laughable. He needed to use all kinds of methods to make himself stronger. Otherwise, forget about dealing with Jun Xiaoyao. He wouldn't even be qualified to be his opponent. It could be said that Jun Xiaoyao's breakthrough this time had really intimidated a portion of the clowns. They didn't dare to provoke him anymore. In the distance, Ji Qingyi, who was dressed in green and wearing a veil, had been watching everything. He knows. Ji Qingyi's limpid eyes looked at Jun Xiaoyao's back. She felt that Jun Xiaoyao should have guessed who killed Ji Daoyi. Strictly speaking, Jun Xiaoyao was helping Ji Qingyi take the blame. After all, it was Ji Qingyi who had killed Ji Daoyi, yet Ji Yingying had shifted all her anger onto Jun Xiaoyao. Of course, Ji Qingyi only said that Ji Daoyi was killed by foreign creatures. He did not deliberately slander Jun Xiaoyao. That was because she had long known that Jun Xiaoyao was not someone she could afford to offend. Ji Qingyi even felt that Jun Xiaoyao had seen through all of her little schemes. However, Jun Xiaoyao was too lazy to expose or explain. To him, one more or one less Ji clan didn't matter at all. If anyone dared to provoke him, he would just kill them directly. There was no need to explain so much. Jun Xiaoyao, does Qingyi owe you a favor? Ji Qingyi muttered to herself. She subconsciously reached out and touched her face through her veil. There was still a mark left behind by Jun Xiaoyao. That was a warning. It warned her not to get too excited. He has such great talent and strength, yet he also has such deep wisdom. He is truly a person who will make others of his generation despair. Even someone as scheming as Ji Qingyi could only sigh when facing Jun Xiaoyao. On the other side, Jiang Luoli and the others had also caught up to Jun Xiaoyao. Their eyes were shining brightly, and they were filled with infatuation and adoration. After all, Jun Xiaoyao's domineering performance was indeed stunning. Immortal Academy had gained another group of Jun Xiaoyao's little fans. Jiang Luoli was even more elated. She could no longer hide the hearts in her large eyes. Because this was her man. Everyone, I hope that you can all make your preparations. Jun Xiaoyao suddenly said to the people around him. Everyone listened attentively. This is not the end, but the beginning. The creatures of the 9 heavens should be moving about the immortal domain more frequently in the future. Jun Xiaoyao's words made the surrounding people nod slightly. It was indeed not bad. The destruction of the 3 great families this time was only the beginning. There was no way the forbidden families of the 9 heavens would not come to the immortal domain because of fear. Of course, there is no need to be overly apprehensive. Cultivate well. I will bear all the storms alone. Jun Xiaoyao's tone was indifferent. However, it was like a reassuring pill, making the Jun family, Jiang family, followers, and many people related to Jun Xiaoyao feel extremely calm and secure. Moreover, if nothing unexpected happens, there will be true creatures of the forbidden regions descending soon, Jun Xiaoyao said with a faint smile. What? The surrounding people were all shocked. True creatures of the forbidden regions were about to descend? Jun Xiaoyao looked towards Jiang Luoli. Jiang Luoli naturally knew what he meant. If her inheritance was really that important, then the immortal mausoleum would probably personally send someone over. After that, the situation was indeed not out of Jun Xiaoyao's expectations. This time, the destruction of the 3 great forbidden families had indeed set off a huge storm in the entire immortal domain. Many immortal forces were surprised that Jun Xiaoyao could be so stubborn. Or could it be that the Jun family did not even take the forbidden regions of the 9 heavens seriously? The 9 heavens were also shocked. Many forbidden families were angry. It was not that they had a good relationship with the three great families. It was that the forbidden families were bound together for good or ill. Jun Xiaoyao casually killed the members of the forbidden families. Didn't that mean that he did not take the other forbidden families seriously? The feeling of being high and mighty was gone. The various forces of the immortal domain were watching the show, waiting for the 9 heavens to make a big move. Not long after, shocking news spread out. Some cultivators saw a hazy fairy walking out of the Well of Heaven Ascension, heading in the direction of the 9 heavens Immortal Academy. This was like a sudden clap of thunder that exploded in the immortal domain. Many people thought that with such a transcendent aura, she was definitely not from the forbidden families. It was very likely that she was a true creature of the forbidden regions. This undoubtedly set off a huge storm. The true creature of the forbidden regions had appeared. Many people were paying attention, and many people were a little nervous. Above the 9 heavens, the mysterious forbidden regions carried endless ancient legends. Although there were terrifying existences hibernating in the forbidden regions. However, not all of the forbidden zones were the culprits behind the unrest. Some forbidden regions always remained aloof from worldly affairs, not participating in the chaos. Of course, they did not stop the chaos. Many people were guessing the identity and background of that fairy. Many people even turned their eyes to the 9 heavens Immortal Academy. On the side of Immortal Academy, a fairy walked over from the universe, carrying a transcendent aura. Many Immortal Academy disciples were alarmed, and many elders appeared. Did the creature of the forbidden regions come to settle the score this time? Many people were nervous. However, the fairy in the hazy rain of light spoke, her voice as pleasant as the sound of nature. I am Yun Tiansound, from the Immortal Mausoleum. I hope to meet young Master Jun. The fairy named Yun Tiansound spoke, causing the surrounding people to be shocked. As expected, she came from a true forbidden region, not someone from the forbidden families. Immortal Mausoleum, that is one of the 10 great forbidden regions, rumored to have a true immortal's inheritance. There are even rumors that the Immortal Mausoleum is a true immortal's descendant, a forbidden region established in the 9 heavens. Fairy Tiansound announced her background, causing great waves in all directions. Many cultivators were shocked. This was a true great background, the forbidden region behind her, rumored to be inextricably linked to immortals. Otherwise, why would it be called the Immortal Mausoleum? However, what surprised everyone was that Fairy Tiansound's tone did not seem to carry too much hostility. She did not come because of the Yu family's condemnation. Chapter 1199. In the universe, a rain of light scattered down, divine multicolored light, tens of thousands of streaks. Fairy Tianmei's hazy figure was among them, truly like a fairy who descended from the heavens. And this was indeed the truth. She came from the 9 heavens, from the Immortal Mausoleum, her identity extremely extraordinary. She was like a fairy who descended to the world, arriving at the 9 heavens Immortal Academy. However, it was different from the arrival of the 3 great forbidden families. Fairy Tianmei's expression was aloof and calm. There was not the slightest bit of hostility or arrogance. She was also not like the previous forbidden families, arrogant and unbridled. At this time, an indifferent voice sounded from Immortal Academy. The fairy from the restricted region has come, welcome. Jun Xiaoyao and the others appeared. He was dressed in white, aloof and otherworldly. His appearance was unparalleled in the world, and his temperament was eternal and otherworldly. It made Fairy Tianmei's eyes light up slightly. It could be said that there weren't many people like this in the 9 heavens. Even those sealed children of the restricted regions, the heirs of unmatched old monsters, the sleeping ancient emperors and others, there weren't many who could reach Jun Xiaoyao's temperament. It was to the extent where in front of Jun Xiaoyao, Fairy Tianmei felt that she didn't seem that otherworldly. Immortal Domain Jun family's son of God, I've heard of your name for a long time. Seeing you today, it is as the rumors say, you really are an immortal. Fairy Tianmei smiled slightly, revealing her sparkling white teeth, exceptionally beautiful. Beside Jun Xiaoyao, Jiang Luoli's large eyes revealed a trace of vigilance. Could it be that this was another woman who was going to fall for Jun Xiaoyao's charm? Not at all. Fairy Tianmei is the one who is like an immortal. Those who come are guests. This Jun has always treated people with sincerity. Jun Xiaoyao smiled as well, looking like a gentleman who was as gentle as jade. The disciples of Immortal Academy were all speechless. Treating people with sincerity. Wonderful! If the idiots of the three great forbidden families knew about this from the Yellow Springs, they would probably be so angry that they would ascend to the heavens. Jun Xiaoyao knew why Fairy Tianmei came. Therefore, he invited the Heavenly Sound Fairy to have a drink or two to discuss in detail. Jiang Luoli also accompanied him. Jun Xiaoyao was such a person. If you let him be decent, he will let you be decent. You don't let him be decent. He will personally teach you what it means to be decent. Thus, the three great taboo families were sent away in a dignified manner. Jun Xiaoyao, Fairy Tianmei, and Jiang Luoli arrived at a pavilion in the Blessed Enclave. Young Master Jun, I'll be frank. You should know why I'm here, Tianmei Fairy said with a smile. It can't be because of the Yu family, right? Jun Xiaoyao joked. Young Master, you must be joking. Although the Yu family is a taboo family under our immortal mausoleum, to be honest, they were indeed in the wrong this time around. Fairy Heavenly Sound's tone was indifferent and casual. The forbidden clan seemed to be glorious in the immortal realm and could intimidate everyone. However, in the eyes of the Life Forbidden Zone, they were nothing more than dogs. Indeed, the immortal mausoleum did not care about the deaths of a few members of the forbidden families. It seems that you're here for Luoli, Jun Xiaoyao said. That's right. If I'm not wrong, she should have the elemental spirit immortal body. In fact, in our immortal mausoleum, there is a cultivation method that belongs to the elemental spirit immortal body called the elemental spirit immortal scripture. And most importantly, Jiang Luoli should have a world in her body that was left behind by an ancient fairy of our immortal mausoleum. Fairy Tianmei said without any hesitation, because she knew that if she wanted to get Jiang Luoli, she must first get Jun Xiaoyao's approval. As long as Jun Xiaoyao said no, Jiang Luoli would definitely not be willing to go with her to the Nine Heavens. I see. The world in Luoli's body came from an ancient fairy of your immortal mausoleum. Jun Xiaoyao completely understood. Jiang Luoli inherited the orthodoxy of an ancient fairy of the immortal mausoleum. Then how can I be sure that your immortal mausoleum has good intentions towards Luoli? After all, you should know the attitude of the Yu family. Jun Xiaoyao said slowly. Jiang Luoli was very obedient at this moment, letting Jun Xiaoyao talk. She knew that Jun Xiaoyao would consider everything for her. Young Master Jun, you must be joking. To be honest, that ancient fairy is from our orthodoxy. If Jiang Luoli goes to the immortal mausoleum, she will become the core cultivator of our orthodoxy, Fairy Tianmei said with a smile, looking peerless. That's also conditional. After all, there's no free lunch in the world. Of course. Our only request is that Jiang Luoli can sincerely become a member of our immortal mausoleum in the future, Fairy Tianmei said sincerely. Did your immortal mausoleum also participate in the turmoil of the past? Jun Xiaoyao suddenly asked, looking straight at Fairy Tianmei. Fairy Tianmei paused, then said, At least, our orthodoxy did not. Jun Xiaoyao retracted his gaze and pondered. It seemed that the situation in the immortal mausoleum was not that simple. Perhaps it was like the supreme Xian Ting, divided into different inheritances and branches. But it was normal. After all, the Forbidden Zone was a colossus. Not to mention a forbidden zone like the immortal mausoleum, which was rumored to be built by the descendants of immortals. Jun Xiaoyao thought for a while. The best thing for Jiang Luoli now was to let her go to the immortal mausoleum to cultivate. Fairy Tianmei saw that Jun Xiaoyao was still thinking and continued. Young Master Jun, what else do you have to worry about? I swear that I will take care of her. In addition, no matter what turmoil occurs in the immortal realm in the future, Jiang Luoli will naturally not be affected by my immortal mausoleum. The heavenly sound fairy was already very sincere. Her attitude and the Yu family's previous attitude were like heaven and earth. Jun Xiaoyao nodded slightly. In fact, he did not want to stop Jiang Luoli from going to the immortal mausoleum to accept the opportunity inheritance. After all, this was her path. Jun Xiaoyao looked at Jiang Luoli. However, to Jun Xiaoyao's surprise, Jiang Luoli did not say that she was determined to stay. Brother Xiaoyao, I want to go to the immortal mausoleum. Jiang Luoli's tone was firm. Previously, the three great forbidden clans came to visit. She saw Luo Xiangling, in the posture of a quasi-emperor, appearing domineeringly to protect Jun Xiaoyao. At that time, Jiang Luoli was very envious. Not only Luo Xiangling, but also Jiang Shengyi, who was also working hard to stand side by side with Jun Xiaoyao and not let him fight alone. In this case, how could Jiang Luoli be willing to only be protected by Jun Xiaoyao? Although it did feel good to be protected, she also wanted to continue on her path and make Jun Xiaoyao look at her in a different light. Okay. Jun Xiaoyao nodded slightly. He was very happy to see Jiang Luoli's growth. Then, Jun Xiaoyao looked at Fairy Tianmei. Since Luoli agrees, then there is nothing else. The only thing is, I hope that Luoli will not suffer any grievances in the immortal mausoleum, and that nothing bad will happen to her. If there is, Jun Xiaoyao paused and then continued. I will personally go to the 9 heavens and let the immortal mausoleum know what dignity is. Jun Xiaoyao's words were indifferent. Hearing this, Fairy Tianmei's mind also focused. After all, after the destruction of the 3 great forbidden clans, Fairy Tianmei knew Jun Xiaoyao really had no scruples, and did not care about the 9 heavens and the forbidden clans at all. He could do such a thing. Seeing Jun Xiaoyao so protective of his wife, Jiang Luoli's love surged in her heart, and she could not help but impulsively, regardless of Fairy Tianmei's presence, offered her lips and kissed Jun Xiaoyao. Fairy Tianmei was slightly embarrassed and looked away. But in her heart, there was a trace of envy. There were not many peerless figures like Jun Xiaoyao in the 9 heavens. To be able to become his Tao companion, she must have saved the immortal domain in her previous life. Chapter 1200. Jiang Luoli left with Fairy Tianji. When they parted, Jiang Luoli was naturally reluctant to part. Jun Xiaoyao was very calm. A short parting was for a longer time. This scene was also seen by many people. Many people were surprised. Jun Xiaoyao and Immortal Mausoleum's fairy were actually talking so harmoniously. This formed a sharp contrast from before. However, it was also because the restricted region fairy's attitude was polite. Otherwise, regardless of whether he was a man or a woman, Jun Xiaoyao would give him face. This is heading to the 9 heavens, truly reaching the heavens in a single step. Yeah, the cultivation rules and various cultivation environments above the 9 heavens are different from Immortal Domain. If one can cultivate there, they will definitely improve quickly. Not to mention that Jiang Luoli was even received by Immortal Mausoleum. This is an opportunity that one can't even ask for. Many people revealed looks of envy, wishing that they could replace him. In fact, before they parted, Fairy Tianji had also invited Jun Xiaoyao to go to Immortal Mausoleum. It was to the extent where he could even cultivate in Immortal Mausoleum. But Jun Xiaoyao tactfully refused. Firstly, he still had other things to do in Immortal Domain. Secondly, with Jun Xiaoyao's talent, regardless of whether it was Immortal Domain or the 9 heavens, there was actually no difference. With his talent, even in the Age of Doom, he could corroborate the Tao. With monstrous talent, he was just this willful. Jiang Luoli left. Jun Xiaoyao didn't have any disappointed or frustrated expression. He wasn't the kind of person who would indulge in love. In the following period of time, Jun Xiaoyao continued to stay in Immortal Academy, consolidating his cultivation realm. However, the entire immortal domain wasn't calm. The three great taboo families and Fairy Tianji's arrival seemed to have opened a new chapter. At the Well of Heaven Ascension, there would be light surging every few days. Some cultivators discovered that some creatures of the nine heavens began to wander about immortal domain frequently. Then, there was another extremely shocking piece of news that spread through immortal domain. Someone saw the beings of the nine heavens heading towards the Holy Spirit Island. Holy Spirit Island's monstrous genius, Little Stone Emperor, was sent away, receiving him into the nine heavens. This attracted the attention of many cultivators. After all, he was the second genius after Jiangluoli to be led up to the nine heavens. Later, some people came to a realization. It was rumored that the Holy Spirit Island's Emperor of Stone was closely related to the forbidden area above the nine heavens, the Holy Spirit Ruins. Now, the Stone Emperor's son, the Little Stone Emperor, had been brought up to the nine heavens. Without a doubt, they were guided by the Saint Spirit Ruins. Then, there was news that Huang Niedao, who was originally in Immortal Academy, was also brought up by the creatures of the nine heavens. There were rumors that this was all thanks to his father, the undying ancient emperor. There were important figures in the nine heavens who were on good terms with the immortal ancient emperor. This caused a group of immortal region geniuses to feel indignant. Having a good father was a good starting point. The Little Stone Emperor was like this, and so was Huang Niedao. Then, Immortal Academy's Ji Qingyi was actually also guided away by the creatures of the nine heavens. There were rumors that Ji Qingyi obtained the inheritance of a certain restricted area inheritance, and was going to be nurtured as a core genius. Now, there were some immortal domain geniuses who couldn't hold themselves back anymore, their minds moving, wishing to head up to the nine heavens. One could imagine that these geniuses who were guided up to the nine heavens would all have extraordinary opportunities. Their cultivation speeds would far surpass Immortal Domain's geniuses. Of course, this didn't mean that the geniuses who stayed in Immortal Domain were crippled. Being guided up to the nine heavens only meant that they had a bit of advantage. It wasn't a qualitative change. However, just these advantages alone were enough to move some geniuses. After all, they couldn't compare to the most powerful geniuses. They could only think about how to overtake them. This made Immortal Academy's great elder, this old man, sigh endlessly. It was because there were some Immortal Academy disciples who left, wishing to be like Huang Niedao, Ji Qingyi, and the others, guided up by the nine heavens. Do you know that the great chaos that previously plunged Immortal Domain's millions and millions into misery and suffering was precisely caused by the nine heavens restricted areas? Immortal Academy's great elder sighed towards the heavens. There was a type of resentment towards iron for not becoming steel. Some people, for their own benefits, had they ever considered Immortal Domain's greater situation? However, the only thing that left Immortal Academy's great elder gratified was that Jun Xiaoyao had said that Immortal Mausoleum had previously invited him up to the nine heavens as well, but he was too lazy to go. If Immortal Domain had a few more loyal heroes like Jun Xiaoyao, what kind of disturbance couldn't be quelled? Immortal Academy's great elder said with a sigh. This was a true hero of 10,000 generations, a true pillar of talent. However, if Jun Xiaoyao knew about this, he would definitely be speechless. Immortal Academy's great elder was purely imagining things. He was really just too lazy to go, that's all. After all, with his talent, even if he stayed in the most barren place, he could still prove his Tao. Afterwards, there were some Immortal Domain geniuses who were guided up by the nine heavens one after another. If they didn't have connections, then their aptitudes were outstanding. One could imagine that if chaos erupted in the future, not many of these geniuses would contribute to Immortal Domain. After all, they were already bound. This was also one of the plans of the 9 heavens. Immortal domain itself was like a piece of fertile soil, giving birth to many geniuses, known as immortal seedlings. Then, when the time was ripe, the 9 heavens would absorb some of immortal domain's immortal seedlings and pluck them. This would strengthen the various restricted regions and absorb the living blood. Of course, not all geniuses would be attracted. For example, Xian Ting, June family, Western Paradise sect, and other powers didn't have any geniuses heading to the 9 heavens. There were also some powers that had old grudges with the 9 heavens restricted regions, so they definitely wouldn't let their geniuses head there. Jun Xiaoyao had always stayed in Immortal Academy. During this period of time, he also heard from his followers about the appearance of the Chaos Fiend Star in Chaotic Heaven, Immortal Domain. This made Jun Xiaoyao recall the note left behind by Without End Heavenly Emperor. Chaos Fiend Star appeared, Forgotten Land, desolate. It seems like that Chaos Fiend Star is the Chaos Fiend Star. And Forgotten Land should be one of the 7 inconceivable worlds, the Forgotten Country. But the problem is, what does desolate mean? Jun Xiaoyao pondered. At this moment, the mechanical voice of the system sounded in his mind. Ding! Congratulations to the host. A new check-in location has been refreshed. Please check in at the Forgotten Country. Jun Xiaoyao wasn't surprised. Some special places were always easy to activate check-ins. However, Chaotic Heaven Immortal Domain is Xian Ting's territory. Plus, Di Haotian is very scheming. He definitely won't let me enter the Forgotten Country. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes flickered. This was indeed a difficult problem. Jun Xiaoyao definitely had to search for the clues left behind by Without End Heavenly Emperor. Forget it, I'll go back to the Huangtian Immortal Domain first and ask Guardian Wu about which generation of Saint Physique this drop of flawless saint blood in the Void Sky realm belongs to. After making up his mind, Jun Xiaoyao made some preparations. When he appeared, his body was surrounded by chaotic mist, and his aura was restrained. He looked as usual. After learning that Jun Xiaoyao was going back to the Huangtian Immortal Domain, Luo Xiangling and Little Eversnow both wanted to go with him. Little Eversnow simply wanted to stick to Jun Xiaoyao. Luo Xiangling, on the other hand, was curious about Jun Xiaoyao's family. She wanted to know about Jun Xiaoyao's past. In fact, it was also a little like an ugly daughter-in-law meeting her in-laws. Of course, Luo Xiangling wouldn't say this out loud. Jun Xiaoyao didn't mind. He took Luo Xiangling and Little Eversnow back to the Huangtian Immortal Domain on the Fufeng of Gojozian. Chapter 1201. Jun Xiaoyao's return to the Jun family in the Huangtian mystic realm undoubtedly caused another stir. After all, the Jun family had received news that Jun Xiaoyao had casually killed people from the 3 forbidden families in the Immortal Academy. No one in the Jun family thought that Jun Xiaoyao had done anything wrong. On the contrary, they thought that Jun Xiaoyao's actions were most in line with the Jun family's style. Jun Xiaoyao's prestige in the Jun family had obviously reached a peak again. The fact that Jun Xiaoyao had brought a quasi-emperor back also made everyone in the Jun family very curious. Even the great ancestors of the Jun family showed up to show respect to Luo Xiangling. Luo Xiangling's strength was almost on par with the great ancestors of the Jun family. There was also Little Eversnow, who surprised the great ancestors of the Jun family. Some of the great ancestors were extremely surprised. Little Eversnow was very shy, and she only shrank behind Jun Xiaoyao. Great ancestors, do you see anything? Jun Xiaoyao asked with a smile. Not simple, Xiaoyao, this is your fate. The great ancestors of the Jun family were all experienced and knowledgeable, but they did not say anything. However, if they said that it was not simple, then it was obviously not simple. Jun Xiaoyao did not mind. He was now really raising Little Eversnow as his daughter, and was not in a hurry to find out her identity and origin. Jun Xiaoyao's birth mother, Jiang Ro, also showed up and asked about Jun Xiaoyao again. Jiang Ro was stunned when she saw little Eversnow. Daddy, little Eversnow grabbed the corner of Jun Xiaoyao's clothes. Xiaoyao, isn't this too sudden? Jiang Ro was speechless for a moment, and then she was very happy. Jun Xiaoyao still explained to clear the misunderstanding. Ah, what a cute little girl. Jiang Ro's maternal instinct was overflowing, and she still liked this little girl very much. By the way, Xiaoyao, that. Jiang Ro glanced at Luo Xiangling. Jun Xiaoyao was silent, and he did not know how to explain. Could it be that this was the thigh he was hugging in the other side? Hello, Auntie. Luo Xiangling's tone was a little shaky, and her beautiful face was slightly red as she spoke to Jiang Ro. Although in terms of age, she was definitely not younger than Jiang Ro. But now, she was really like a little daughter-in-law meeting her parents-in-law, full of shyness. Jiang Ro was naturally happy as well. She really hoped that Jun Xiaoyao would have more women so that he could have more children. But the premise was that Jun Xiaoyao treated them really well and really liked them. What followed was naturally a joyous and harmonious atmosphere. However, Jun Xiaoyao did not forget his purpose in coming to the Huangtian mystic realm. He arrived at the Bronze Immortal Palace. At this moment, the Bronze Immortal Palace had become a mobile fortress for the monarch dynasty. Jun Xiaoyao found Wu Hu. Wu Hu's physique was robust, his muscles were like metal, his hair was thick, and his eyes emitted cold lightning. He looked like a dragon and ferocious tiger. He was like a reincarnated god of war. His golden blood surged and shook the sky. Wu Hu could be said to be an absolute upper echelon of the monarch dynasty, a core member. Jun Xiaoyao, you're here. Seeing Jun Xiaoyao appear, Wu Hu stood up to welcome him. Senior Wu Hu, it seems that your condition is getting better and better. Jun Xiaoyao smiled faintly. He still hadn't forgotten the first time he saw Wu Hu. In the dilapidated, desolate ancient sacred palace, Wu Hu's hands and feet were shackled and thick chains pierced through his shoulder blade. On his back was a stone tablet, which was the humiliation left behind by the tyrant body lineage. However, Wu Hu did not give up. He was in the darkness, but his heart was in the light. He had always done his best for the continuation of the sacred body lineage. He even didn't hesitate to use his own blood essence to nourish Ning Chen and Xiao Xianxian, wanting the blood of the sacred body to continue flowing. It's all because of you, Xiaoyao. Wu Hu knew. If it weren't for Jun Xiaoyao, the sacred body lineage would have been destroyed. In this great world, the sacred body lineage would probably no longer have its glory. Jun Xiaoyao had single-handedly saved the entire branch of the Saint Physique. Senior Wu Hu, I'm here this time because I have something to ask you. As Jun Xiaoyao spoke, he took out the heart of protector that he had obtained from signing in. This is, Wu Hu was stunned for a moment. He could feel the terrifying majestic energy of the heart of protector. This heart of protector can only be refined by those who truly have the desire to protect the world. If it's refined, it can at least unconditionally raise one's realm below the quasi-emperor realm. Senior Wu Hu, you're now a godly venerable. You can completely refine it when you cultivate to the Tao Lord realm. In that case, a sacred body of the ancients at the quasi-emperor level will be absolutely terrifying and can even compete with a real emperor. Jun Xiaoyao said. Wu Hu was also stunned for a moment. Then, he directly refused. No, it's too precious. Jun Xiaoyao, you're the hope of the sacred body lineage. It should be left for you to use. If it were anyone else, they would definitely be greedy for such a precious thing. It was even enough to cause brothers to turn against each other. However, Wu Hu directly refused and asked Jun Xiaoyao to keep it for his own use. Senior Wu Hu, just accept it. I have my own plans, Jun Xiaoyao said. I don't deserve it. Wu Hu still refused. He had been indebted to Jun Xiaoyao enough. Jun Xiaoyao had even refined 50 drops of sacred body blood essence to help him break the shackles of the sacred body. Now that he had to give such a precious treasure to him, Wu Hu felt guilty. Senior Wu Hu, you should know what the duty of the sacred body lineage is. I think the real turmoil is not far away. When that time comes, the world will need a sacred body. Although my cultivation speed is not slow, it's impossible for me to reach the quasi-emperor level in such a short time. Jun Xiaoyao's words made Wu Hu fall silent. Indeed, calming the turmoil was the duty of the sacred body lineage. This is an opportunity, but it's also a responsibility, Jun Xiaoyao said. In the end, Wu Hu accepted it. Jun Xiaoyao, in the future, whether it's to protect the imperial court or to quell the turmoil, I, Wu Hu, will not shirk my responsibility. Wu Hu said. A man of character was a man of his word. He meant what he said. By the way, Senior Wu Hu, there's one more thing. Jun Xiaoyao told him about the Void Sky realm and took out the drop of flawless sacred blood. Seeing this drop of sacred blood, even Wu Hu's eyes burst out with divine light. He was very surprised. It seems that Senior Wu Hu knows something, Jun Xiaoyao said. Wu Hu thought for a moment and said, You want to know who the owner of this drop of flawless sacred blood is? That's right, Jun Xiaoyao said. Then do you know who created the desolate ancient temple? Wu Hu asked. Jun Xiaoyao shook his head slightly. Tracing back to the creation of the desolate ancient temple was too long ago. Could it be that the owner of this drop of flawless sacred blood? Jun Xiaoyao came to a realization. That's right. This most primitive and perfect sacred blood seems to have activated the blood in my body. The only thing I can think of is the legendary founder of the desolate ancient temple, the Desolate Emperor. The strongest sacred body of the desolate in history. Wu Hu said in a solemn tone. The Desolate Emperor, Jun Xiaoyao muttered to himself. Suddenly, a thought flashed through his mind as he remembered the clues left by the endless great emperor. Mars appeared, the forgotten land, desolate. Could that desolate be the Desolate Emperor? Chapter 1202. Jun Xiaoyao wanted to know more about the Desolate Emperor. Protector Wu told him everything he knew without holding anything back. Actually, there aren't many records about the Desolate Emperor, even in the desolate sacred palace. After all, it was too long ago. But as the founder of the desolate sacred palace, the Desolate Emperor's strength is undeniable. He was the strongest sacred body of the ancients in history. In his era, the Desolate Emperor single-handedly made the sacred body of the ancients the second of the 3,000 physiques, surpassing the chaotic body, the eternal deity body, and other nature-defying physiques. In that era, the Desolate Emperor was almost the symbol of invincibility. Even the tyrant body of the Great Accomplishment dared not come out, hiding like a mouse. That was the most glorious era of the sacred body lineage. Wu Hu could not hide his excitement when he said this. After all, the sacred body of the ancients was not restricted by the heavenly path in that era, and there were no shackles on it, so it could reach the extreme and the most perfect state. It was not like now, where the sacred body lineage had withered to such a state after being shackled by the heavenly path and cursed by the sacred body. If it were not for Jun Xiaoyao, the sacred body lineage would not have been able to shine in this golden era. Wu Hu sighed when he thought of this. Even Jun Xiaoyao was surprised. What kind of glory was that? Even the tyrant body of the Great Accomplishment did not dare to come out. How strong was the Desolate Emperor? What happened after that? Jun Xiaoyao was curious. If the Desolate Emperor was really that strong, he should be able to continue the glory of the sacred body lineage. The sacred body lineage would not have fallen to such a state. There are no detailed records of what happened after that. We only know that the Desolate Emperor encountered an unprecedented taboo enemy, which was not recorded in the ancient history. Wu Hu's tone was extremely serious when he said this. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes flashed. The Desolate Emperor's strength was beyond doubt. He was almost at the peak of the sacred body lineage. However, a terrifying enemy appeared, one that could compete with the Desolate Emperor. During the Desolate Emperor's era, Even the tyrant body of the sacred body could only admit defeat. Who was the taboo existence that could compete with the desolate emperor? Are there no records of the desolate emperor's great enemies? Jun Xiaoyao asked. Wu Hu shook his head and said, it was indeed not recorded. It was as if it had been deliberately erased. In the later generations, there were some seniors with saintly bodies who tried to find the answer, but they couldn't find any clues. I only know that the desolate ancient sacred palace was built during the era of the desolate emperor. The divine being's duty to quell the chaos was passed on after that. Wu Hu's words made Jun Xiaoyao fall into deep thought. If the desolate emperor is doing this for the sake of quelling chaos, then it should be related to the 9 heavens. Could it be the doing of a forbidden zone? Jun Xiaoyao speculated. Protector Wu shook his head and said, it shouldn't be possible. In that era, the desolate emperor was too powerful. Even the forbidden zones didn't want to provoke him. Jun Xiaoyao recalled the clues he had obtained in the ruins of the underworld beneath the black abyss. The curse of the saintly body was related to the immortal island, a life-forbidden zone. At that time, Jun Xiaoyao had been trying to figure it out. The immortal island was very likely to be related to the underworld, and they were targeting the saintly body together. Wu Hu seemed to have thought of something and said, although those seniors with saintly bodies didn't find the truth, they vaguely caught some clues. They even investigated that the shackles, curses, and so on of the saintly body might be a conspiracy that only appeared after the era of the desolate emperor. Jun Xiaoyao fell into deep thought. He vaguely sensed a huge conspiracy. A shocking conspiracy that spanned across ancient history. This shocking conspiracy seemed to be targeting the saintly body. But in fact, the saintly body was just an obstacle, a stumbling block, which was why it needed to be eliminated. The deeper meaning and purpose behind it were the most important. Jun Xiaoyao seemed to see a terrifying black hand behind the scenes. It was even possible that it was the forbidden enemy that the desolate emperor encountered. And if that was the case, the level of that black hand was at least at the level of the ultimate calamity. It might even be more dangerous and unpredictable. Although the ultimate calamity spread black blood, created darkness, and polluted the world. But it didn't have too many calculations, and this black hand behind the scenes not only had extremely terrifying strength, but it could also become the desolate emperor's enemy. Its wisdom should also be incomparably terrifying, far more scheming than the ultimate calamity. And it also involved the 9 heavens forbidden zone, the underworld, and other forces. It could be said that it was too complicated. Not to mention Jun Xiaoyao, even a real great emperor would find it difficult to investigate the truth. Jun Xiaoyao, I can feel that you are under a lot of pressure. The matter of the saintly body shouldn't be on your shoulders alone, Wu Hu said. It's okay. Thank you, Senior Wu Hu, for clearing my doubts. At least I've found some clues and sorted it out. Oh right, as Jun Xiaoyao spoke, he divided a part of the drop of desolate emperor's blood and handed it to Wu Hu. Senior Wu Hu, you can take this and refine it. This is too precious. Wu Hu was shocked. If the heart of world protection was extremely precious, then this desolate emperor's blood was priceless to the saintly body. Senior Wu Hu, I also need your help. The stronger you are, the better it is for me, for the imperial court, and for the entire saintly body. Protector Wu sighed when he heard this, but he still accepted it. Jun Xiaoyao's kindness to him could no longer be described with words. Senior Wu Hu, I really hope that the saintly body will be able to create new glory. Jun Xiaoyao smiled slightly. Then, he left. Looking at Jun Xiaoyao's slender and thin back, Wu Hu was a little absent-minded. He vaguely seemed to see the shadow of the desolate emperor, and also the shadow of the no-end emperor. But in the end, all the shadows disappeared. Jun Xiaoyao was still that Jun Xiaoyao. He didn't have to become anyone, because he would surpass. If there is anyone who is qualified to shake the desolate emperor's position or even surpass him, Then only you, Jun Xiaoyao Wu, who sighed. Then, he cheered himself up and began to cultivate, with the heart of protector and a part of the desolate emperor's blood. Wu, who was confident that when the chaos came, he could help Jun Xiaoyao to bloom the glory of the saintly body. On the other side, Jun Xiaoyao left the bronze immortal palace. As he crossed the void, he was thinking. He had learned too many clues this time. No matter what, the clues left behind by the no-end emperor point to the forgotten kingdom. If that desolate really refers to the desolate emperor, then does that mean that the desolate emperor left something there? How did the ancient Xian Ting get the desolate emperor's things? Jun Xiaoyao was thinking. But he was sure of one thing. He had to go to the forgotten kingdom. Not to mention Dihaotian, even if there was no Dihaotian, the Xian Ting would not let me enter their treasure land, so I have to think of a way. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes flashed. He was not a brute who only had talent and strength. In terms of shrewdness and scheming, Ji Qing-yi could only be considered as a sister in front of Jun Xiaoyao. Just as Jun Xiaoyao was thinking. In the distance, a woman in a colorful dress suddenly approached. She had a faint demonic aura on her body. Greetings to the Son of God of the Jun family. My master invites you. The woman in the colorful dress bowed respectfully. She looked at Jun Xiaoyao, and a strange light flashed in her eyes. Jun Xiaoyao glanced at the woman in the colorful dress and said, "It's the little demon empress." Chapter 1203. Sensing the demonic aura of the woman in the colorful dress, Jun Xiaoyao immediately knew who wanted to invite him. It just so happened that Jun Xiaoyao also wanted to meet this mysterious little demon empress, although Jun Xiaoyao had rejected the little demon empress last time. However, she should have some information as well. Not long after, Jun Xiaoyao arrived at the Demon God Palace. With his current strength, he could easily tear the void and travel hundreds of millions of miles. Son of God, please. The demon empress is waiting for the Son of God in the palace, the woman in the colorful dress said respectfully. Jun Xiaoyao nodded slightly and entered the luxurious and gorgeous palace. Ah, there is actually such a person in this world that even the demon empress is concerned about. The woman in the colorful dress sighed. Jun Xiaoyao arrived at the palace. The layout was also very simple. There was only a large red bed with curtains hanging low, partially concealing a delicate, enchanting, and alluring figure. Even though there was a layer of gauze, he could still feel Linglong's curves. Jun Xiaoyao didn't need to see the real person to know. The little demon empress's reputation in the Huangtian immortal realm was not unfounded. Little brother Xiaoyao, we finally meet. Is this bed big enough? Can you use it? The little demon empress' sweet voice sounded. It was like a cat's paw, tickling one's heart. Of course, Jun Xiaoyao had seen all kinds of storms. He had also seen a lot of women, so he wouldn't lose his composure. The little demon empress words were no longer a hint, but a clear indication. Unfortunately, Jun Xiaoyao didn't fall for it. Senior Demon Empress, I didn't come here to reminisce about the past. You're still calling me senior. What did you say before? The little demon empress said coquettishly. Yao Yao. Jun Xiaoyao was helpless. Yes, I like to hear little brother call me that, the little demon empress said happily. Yao Yao, why don't we be honest with each other? There's no need to hide, Jun Xiaoyao said generously. Hearing this, the little demon empress said in surprise, Be honest with each other? Then shouldn't little brother Xiaoyao take off his clothes first? Jun Xiaoyao was speechless and didn't know what to say. He wasn't talking about being honest with each other. The little demon empress was even better than him. It could be said that a normal man couldn't take it. All right, I won't tease you. From within the red curtain, a delicate, snow-white foot suddenly stretched out, and then slowly lifted the curtain. The little demon empress' beautiful face finally appeared in front of Jun Xiaoyao. She was wearing a light red dress that covered her proud body. Not only wasn't it a empress, it had a different kind of beauty. Her to look to her 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 to be to her to be. Her beautiful face seemed to make the world lose its color. Especially the beauty mark beside her red lip. It gave the little demon empress a soul-stirring charm. This was the little demon empress whose beauty had spread throughout the Huangtian immortal realm. What, are you stunned? The little demon empress giggled. She was wearing cool clothes. A pair of long, snow-white legs were unscrupulously exposed. Jun Xiaoyao didn't deliberately pretend to be a moralist. Instead, he looked at her generously. Flowers need to be appreciated by someone to show the value of their beauty, Jun Xiaoyao said with a smile. Then why did you reject Yaoyao back then? The little demon empress seemed a little wronged. When a charming woman was wronged, it was simply fatal. Jun Xiaoyao smiled and said, "These are two different things." Is that so? Sigh, I'm so sad. For you, I even rejected the cooperation with Xian Ting and Di Haotian, the little demon empress said with a sigh. Di Haotian came to find you. Why? Jun Xiaoyao thought about it and was a little surprised. The little demon empress didn't hide anything and told Jun Xiaoyao about Di Haotian's visit. To be honest, even I was a little surprised. That Di Haotian seems to know everything. I feel like I've been seen through. It's very unpleasant, the little demon empress said. Jun Xiaoyao was also puzzled. He recalled Di Haotian's performance in the Void Sky realm. That feeling of having everything under control, as if he had already experienced it once. Jun Xiaoyao's mind suddenly flashed. As a transmigrator, his mind was obviously more open. Could it be rebirth? Jun Xiaoyao thought of this and felt that it was a little unexpected. In a fantasy world, there could be reincarnation, and so on. But this kind of rebirth from the past was almost impossible. One had to know that even a myth emperor could set foot in the river of time and set up a plan for eternity. But it was impossible to personally reincarnate into the past, because that would involve unimaginably terrifying karma. That kind of karma, even a myth emperor had to be cautious. So, even a myth emperor had limitations in interfering with the past and future. And although Di Haotian was a monster, he definitely didn't have this kind of power. But thinking of Di Haotian's previous expressions and actions, he was indeed no different from a reborn person. He knew what opportunities there were in the Void Sky realm and knew that the little demon empress was from the 9 heavens and had a great background. If he really is a reborn person, then according to the routine, there should be some kind of cheat that brought him here. But is that really the case? Jun Xiaoyao had a nagging feeling that something was off. And Jun Xiaoyao also found a fatal flaw. It was that Di Haotian seemed to be unable to predict his actions. In the Void Sky realm, all the opportunities were obtained by Jun Xiaoyao. In other words, Di Haotian is a reborn person, but he doesn't have any memories of me. Because I'm a fateless person? Jun Xiaoyao thought a lot. He felt that Di Haotian wasn't as simple as being reborn. There seemed to be a layer of dark clouds behind him. Even Di Haotian himself might not have noticed. It was hard to imagine that just based on a message from the little demon empress, Jun Xiaoyao guessed Di Haotian's background pretty close. This was the most terrifying thing about Jun Xiaoyao. Deep shrewdness and calculation. Little brother Xiaoyao, what did you think? The little demon empress asked lazily. Interesting, very interesting. Jun Xiaoyao smiled. After knowing that Di Haotian might be a reborn person, Jun Xiaoyao wasn't afraid. Instead, he felt that it was more interesting. That's right. It's more interesting when it's a bit challenging, Jun Xiaoyao thought to himself. Otherwise, it would be very boring to be invincible all the way. What's interesting? Is that Di Haotian? The little demon empress asked curiously. Nothing. It's really surprising that you could reject him. I think we can be friends. Jun Xiaoyao stretched out a hand. The little demon empress chuckled and suddenly leaned forward. She didn't shake Jun Xiaoyao's hand. Instead, she stuck out her tongue and licked Jun Xiaoyao's finger. This concubine doesn't just want to be friends with little brother. Jun Xiaoyao blushed with shame. When a woman was hungry, it was too scary. In the end, Jun Xiaoyao left the demon god palace. As for the power behind the little demon empress, she didn't reveal too much, saying that it wasn't time yet. Jun Xiaoyao didn't care too much, because he didn't even think about borrowing the power of the 9 heavens. As long as the little demon empress didn't become his enemy, it was enough. Although the reborn Dihaotian has grasped a lot of information about the future, he can't predict my future, and it's even more impossible for him to know my plans. Since that's the case, Jun Xiaoyao thought for a while and smiled. Those familiar with him knew that this smile meant that Jun Xiaoyao was going to do something again. Chapter 1204. After leaving the Demon God Palace, Jun Xiaoyao returned to the Jun family and spent some peaceful days there. As for Jiang Ro, she had told Jun Xiaoyao more than once. Luo Xiangling was a very virtuous girl. Jun Xiaoyao actually wanted to say, "Mom, Luo Xiangling is old enough to be your mom." But he still didn't say anything. Jiang Ro only hoped that he could start a family soon. This was every mother's most simple wish. Jun Xiaoyao originally wanted to confirm the date of his engagement with Jiang Shengyi and Jiang Luoli. But now, so many things had happened, including the Huang Emperor's matter, the curse of the sacred body, and the possible mastermind behind the scenes. There was also Dihaotian, the reincarnated person. The forgotten nation was about to appear. Jun Xiaoyao really couldn't spare too much energy. Returning to the Jun family this time could be considered as taking a break from his busy schedule. On the other side, in a desolate ancient star field near the Well of Heaven Ascension, on a dead planet without any life, at a certain moment, some figures suddenly appeared. They all had the aura of the 9 heavens. Obviously, this was a group of creatures from the 9 heavens. This kid from the Jun family is really too arrogant. He doesn't take us, the forbidden families, and the forbidden zone behind us seriously. A heavenly venerable said coldly. He was from the Ji family. That's right. The Jun family is used to being domineering in the mystic realm. But they don't know that this world is very big. The Jun family can't control the world with one hand, someone from the Yu family said. This kid actually dares to look down on the forbidden zone. If it weren't for the ultimate killing array, and the supreme beings in the forbidden zone that haven't awakened, the saint spirit ruins behind our family would be enough to cause heavy damage to the Jun family. A powerhouse from the Jin family said coldly. The 3 great forbidden families descended to the mortal world, and in the end, their vanguard was completely wiped out. The death of their clansmen was secondary. The problem was that the originally noble status of the forbidden families was pulled down from the altar by Jun Xiaoyao alone. This made some forces in the mystic realm feel that the so-called forbidden families of the 9 heavens were just SOSO. This was what they hated the most. Is your Yu clan going to target Jun Xiaoyao again? I heard that the peerless genius of the immortal mausoleum, Fairy Tianlai, personally descended to the lower world and was polite to that Jun Xiaoyao. The Jin family member asked. It doesn't matter. There are different factions in the celestial mausoleum. We don't have to listen to Yun Tianlai's faction, said someone from the Yu clan. Next, we should plan how to retaliate. However, we shouldn't show ourselves directly. After all, if the Jun family really goes crazy, we won't have an easy time either, said the cultivator from the Ji family. Although they were backed by the Forbidden Zone, if the Jun family really went crazy, the Forbidden Zone might abandon them. Just as the 3 great clans were discussing. Suddenly, a fiery light flashed from afar. In the end, it transformed into a purple-clothed, purple-haired man with purple divine flames all over his body. Yes, you are. The people of the 3 great clans frowned as they looked at the newcomer. I am the young emperor of the Xian Ting, Purple Flame Lord of Heaven, a subordinate of Dihaotian. The purple-haired man was Purple Flame Lord of Heaven, the third of the 18 horsemen of Yenyun under Di Haotian's command. Di Haotian had arranged for him to keep an eye on the movements of the forbidden clans. Xian Ting, what do you want? The people of the 3 great forbidden clans asked coldly. There was no conflict between the forbidden clans and the Xian Ting for the time being. Of course, there was no friendship between them. The 2 sides would mind their own business for the time being. Are you all thinking of taking revenge on Jun Xiaoyao? Purple Flame Lord of Heaven asked with a smile. What? Is the Xian Ting so meddlesome? Said the cultivator from the Ji family coldly. The Xian Ting was an overlord force and used to be the ruler of the mystic realm. In the past, there had been some conflicts with the 9 heavens. Although there was no conflict for the time being, the forbidden clans did not like the Xian Ting. Ha! Nothing. I just think that we have the same goal, Purple Flame Lord of Heaven said with a smile. Oh! The people of the 3 great forbidden clans were suspicious. They thought that the Xian Ting wanted to meddle in their affairs against Jun Xiaoyao. Who would have thought that they would have a helper? I have a suggestion. I wonder if the 3 great forbidden clans can accept it? Purple Flame Lord of Heaven said. Go ahead. If we really want to target Jun Xiaoyao, we obviously can't do it directly, let alone openly. So the only way is to assassinate him, and we can't do it, Purple Flame Lord of Heaven said. So, you mean, there are 3 immortal killers in the mystic realm. The Jin dynasty can do it, Purple Flame Lord of Heaven said. Are you kidding? With the Jun family's deterrence in the mystic realm, even the immortal killers of the Jin dynasty would not dare to do it, right? The people of the forbidden clans sneered. Now the Jun family's prestige in the mystic realm was enough to be on par with the Xian Ting. So, we need to give enough benefits and pay a huge price to make the Jin dynasty willing to take such a big risk, Purple Flame Lord of Heaven said. In the end, they want us to bleed together. The 3 great forbidden clans were not fools. Trying to assassinate Jun Xiaoyao would definitely cause a huge commotion. The Jun family would definitely be furious and take revenge. For the assassin dynasty to take such a huge risk, the price they would have to pay would be terrifying. That's why we need to cooperate. The young king has agreed to give us some attractive conditions. Of course, you have to help too. For example, if there is a big turmoil in the future, the Jin dynasty can guarantee that they will be safe. You can even let them move to the 9 heavens and get the resources and cultivation arts of the forbidden clans. Purple Flame Lord of Heaven said slowly. Of course, he did not come up with these ideas. He was not qualified to make the decision. It was Di Haotian who had instructed him to do so. The 3 great forbidden clans fell into deep thought. At this moment, there was another fluctuation in the void, and a faint voice was heard. We are also interested in this plan. A few figures appeared. Their bodies were surrounded by a hazy blue light and carried a sense of transcendence. You are from the Grey Clan? Sensing the ethereal aura that was like the heavens, a strange look flashed across the purple flame monarch's eyes. Yes, we are the servants of Zhou Tiandaozi. Those people's voices were cold and arrogant. They were even more superior than the beings in the 9 heavens. Servants of the Daozi? Purple Flame Lord of Heaven was slightly surprised. He had heard Di Haotian mention it before. There were not many geniuses in the mystic realm who could catch his eye. The Grey Clan's Daozi was one of them. Rumor had it that there were 8 Daozi in the Grey Clan. They were called the 8 Sons of Heaven. Zhou Tiandaozi was only one of them. They were favored by the heavenly Tao and favored by the heavenly Tao. They were the absolute tide of this world. The Grey Clan has also appeared? Even the people from the forbidden families in the 9 heavens were a little surprised. They had also heard of the Grey Clan. However, the Grey Clan was too mysterious. Even during the turmoil in the past, the Grey Clan had hidden behind the scenes and benefited secretly. They had never truly appeared. Someone from the Grey Clan said, Zhou Tiandaozi is unhappy because the immortal root of the 6 paths of reincarnation was stolen. However, Jun Xiaoyao is not qualified for him to personally take action. That's why we are here to kill this sinner who blasphemes the heavens and the Grey Clan. In their eyes, Jun Xiaoyao was a sinner. A sinner should be killed. That's even better. The price we pay for the cooperation of the three forces is enough to make the three assassins of the Jin dynasty go all out to kill him. Purple Flame Lord of Heaven smiled. It could be said that no one had expected this. It was just a plan to target Jun Xiaoyao. However, it provoked the forbidden families of the Nine Heavens, the Xian Ting, and the Grey Clan. It could be said that if this plan really succeeded, Jun Xiaoyao would be killed. It would definitely cause the biggest storm in the immortal region. After all, if the Jun family was angry, the heavens would be shaken. However, they had already made up their minds, because Jun Xiaoyao's cultivation speed was too fast. It had not been long before he had broken through to the lesser, heavenly venerable level. Moreover, he could kill a great heavenly venerable with one punch and had the power of the extreme state. If this dragged on for a few more years, wouldn't no one below the Boundary Emperor be able to stop Jun Xiaoyao? Therefore, these three forces did not want to give Jun Xiaoyao room to grow. Even if the Jun family was protecting him, they would still take action. Chapter 1205. In the blink of an eye, several months had passed. Jun Xiaoyao was also preparing to leave the Jun family. Because some news said that the Chaos Demon Star in the Huntian Immortal Realm had changed. It was very likely that the Forgotten Kingdom would appear soon. Therefore, Jun Xiaoyao had to make preparations in advance. Unexpectedly, the situation was different. Luo Xiangling said that she wanted to stay in the Jun family. The people here are very good to me. They make me feel very relaxed. It's more relaxed and comfortable than staying in the Immortal Academy, Luo Xiangling said. Jun Xiaoyao nodded slightly. In fact, he also knew that Luo Xiangling and Jiang Rou got along very well during this period of time. He had always been away, and Jun Wuhui almost never returned home. Therefore, Jun Xiaoyao was happy to see someone accompanying Jiang Rou. Well, Xiangling, just treat the Jun family as your own home, Jun Xiaoyao said with a smile. My own home. Luo Xiangling's delicate face blushed slightly. Was that what he meant? Jun Xiaoyao was stunned and also noticed the ambiguity in his words. This was not the meaning of turning Luo Xiangling into the daughter-in-law of the Jun family. Jun Xiaoyao was too lazy to explain anything. He rode the Fufeng of Gojoseon and drove away from the Huangtian Immortal Realm with little Eversnow. Although everyone in the Jun family liked the little girl Eversnow. But little Eversnow was still very dependent on Jun Xiaoyao and only wanted to stay by his side. In the endless universe, a blue sky rock flapped its wings and flew past. Its wings cut through the void, and the fluctuations shattered many of the surrounding meteorites. Jun Xiaoyao sat cross-legged on the back of the blue sky rock, and little Eversnow leaned against his side. How should I enter the Forgotten Kingdom? Jun Xiaoyao was thinking. Right, there are also those forbidden families. Are they really so cowardly that after being intimidated by me once, they don't dare to make a move again? Jun Xiaoyao thought to himself. If that was the case, then Jun Xiaoyao would be disappointed. Because he thought of a way. But this method needed to beat them at their own game. At this moment, Fufeng of Gojoseon's voice suddenly sounded. Master, I feel that something is wrong. What's wrong? Jun Xiaoyao had been lost in thought, so he didn't pay attention to his surroundings. After hearing Fufeng of's reminder, Jun Xiaoyao, to his surprise, he discovered that the surrounding universe was pitch black. There weren't even 2 or 3 stars. As of the universe was of the universes of the universe. This was not normal. Of Gojoseon of the universe of the immortal realm of Gojoseon. Of course, it's just that. King Fufeng was also confused. Jun Xiaoyao got up from the rock's back and scanned his surroundings, squinting slightly. Then, he smiled. Is of the eye of AA. After he said that, there was no response from the 4 universes. It was as if Jun Xiaoyao was talking to the air. But after a long moment of dead silence, suddenly a chuckle sounded. As expected of the famous son of God of the Jun family, the great hero who saved the celestial realm. Such determination is indeed admirable. In the void, a group of people in white robes appeared. Their auras were very powerful. They were all seventh realm supreme beings. Their bodies were shrouded in holy light, and there were wings made of intertwined divine chains of laws on their backs. This group of people was incomparably sacred and holy. They looked like angels in mythical religions. But what didn't match their appearances was the kind of terrifying killing intent that was faintly revealed. That was an extremely murderous aura that was cultivated postnatally. It was an aura that could only be condensed after their hands were stained with the blood of countless people. Looking at it like this group of people gave off the feeling of wolves in sheep's clothing. Under the holy appearance, there were millions of corpses of blood and slaughter. One of the three great assassins of the celestial realm, the Jin dynasty, Heaven. Jun Xiaoyao said calmly, revealing the identity of the person who came. Heaven sounded like an incomparably beautiful word, but it was the terrifying assassin of the celestial realm. The Jin dynasty had existed since ancient times and was hidden in the darkness. They claimed to be able to extradite people to heaven. As long as they attacked, there would be no mistakes. Even when Xian Ting was establishing order, they could still exist. Because if there was light in this world, there would definitely be darkness. The Son of God is indeed knowledgeable. That's right, we are from heaven. Someone from heaven spoke. They were very calm and leisurely. It didn't seem like they were nervous about an assassination at all. Jun Xiaoyao's heart skipped a beat. Only then did he understand why they were so calm. Why? Do you want to send a message or ask for help? It's impossible. You have already stepped into the forbidden sky of the celestial realm set by the great nine-winged angel, the person from heaven said. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes flashed. In the assassin Jin dynasty's heaven, the strength of the assassins was divided by the wings of law on their backs. The great nine-winged angel of heaven was the strongest existence at the quasi-emperor level. It was no wonder that even the quasi-emperor Fufeng of Gojoseon didn't notice. When an expert of the same level secretly used a method, it was indeed sometimes difficult to detect. Although Jun Xiaoyao didn't know what the forbidden sky of the celestial realm was, he clearly understood that it was a method to isolate them from the outside world. That was why the people from heaven were so calm. They looked at Jun Xiaoyao as if they were looking at a caged beast. At this moment, another cold and deep voice sounded. This place doesn't only have the forbidden sky of the celestial realm of heaven, but also the heaven-bewildering array of my secluded country. It can be said that even a quasi-emperor wouldn't be able to deduce this place in a short period of time, let alone find you, Jun Xiaoyao. Another group of people dressed in black appeared. They all wore white masks on their faces. Those masks were carved from the bones of living creatures and were incomparably sinister and terrifying. It was another group of experts with shocking murderous auras. This was not an aura that they deliberately released. Instead, it flowed out naturally. The murderous aura emitted by this group of people was no weaker than the people from heaven. One of the three great assassins of the Jin dynasty, the secluded country. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes gradually turned cold. The secluded country was a country in the netherworld. They were a group of ruthless death gods. As long as there were enough benefits and money to buy their lives, they would kill for anyone. There were also rumors that the predecessor of the secluded country seemed to have some connection with the underworld. That was why they knew all kinds of terrifying and strange curses, assassination techniques, and so on. At this moment, even Fufeng of Gojoseon's heart was beating like a drum, because he vaguely sensed the aura of more than one quasi-emperor, and it seemed that they were of a higher level than him. After all, quasi-emperors were also subdivided from one tribulation to 9 tribulations. Fufeng of Gojoseon had only become a quasi-emperor recently, and his level was not even as high as Luo Xiangling's. He was only a quasi-emperor who had passed 2 tribulations. But in his senses there were at least 3 to 4 tribulations of quasi-emperors. However, it wasn't over yet. Another group of people dressed in blood-red cloaks appeared. One of the 3 great assassins of the Jin dynasty, the Blood Pagoda. Jun Xiaoyao sighed. They were all here today. He remembered that he had once killed a successor of the Blood Pagoda on the ancient road of the Ultimate Realm. This assassin of the Jin dynasty was equally terrifying and not weaker than the Heavenly Kingdom and the Secluded Country. I really didn't expect that the 3 great assassins of the Jin dynasty would one day put on such a big lineup and join forces to assassinate a person. Moreover, it's a junior. Yes, Jun Xiaoyao, even if you die, it's enough to make you famous. This is the most extravagant lineup to send you to the other side. In order to kill a junior heavenly venerable like you, even a quasi-emperor has taken action. You should die in peace. The 3 great assassins of the Jin dynasty spoke. It could be said that this was definitely using a sledgehammer to kill a chicken. It was a waste of talent. Such an extravagant lineup was more than enough to assassinate a true quasi-emperor. But now it was just to assassinate a young genius. Even if this genius was Jun Xiaoyao, it was still a little too much. But from this, it could be seen how cautious the 3 great assassins of the Jin dynasty were about this assassination. To them, this was a huge gamble. If they won, the 3 great assassins of the Jin dynasty would receive endless benefit. And if they failed, the consequences of angering the Jun family were unimaginable even for the 3 great assassins of the Jin dynasty. Chapter 1206. That was definitely a fatal crisis for Jun Xiaoyao at the moment. With such a lineup, let alone killing Jun Xiaoyao, it was more than enough to kill a quasi-emperor. Even if Jun Xiaoyao was protected by the second tribulation quasi-emperor Fufeng of Gojoseon, it would not be enough. Furthermore, the 3 assassins of the Jin dynasty had expected that the quasi-emperor Luo Xiangling would follow them. Now that Luo Xiangling had not followed them, it was undoubtedly more advantageous for their assassination. Since the 3 assassins of the Jin dynasty had made up their minds to assassinate Jun Xiaoyao, naturally they could not treat him casually. Underestimating the enemy was a mistake that an assassin organization would never make. Not to mention that the 3 assassins of the Jin dynasty were betting their futures and fates on this assassination. Therefore, a quasi-emperor level assassin had come this time, although he had not shown himself yet. No one would be calm in the face of such an ambush and assassination. However, Jun Xiaoyao was very calm. He even chuckled as he asked, "Do you know what you are doing?" "Of course we know," the 3 assassins of the Jin dynasty said coldly, but they were not in a hurry. The Divine Domain's sky restriction and the Great Bewildering Formation had completely isolated this place, making it impossible to deduce in a short period of time. Even a quasi-emperor would not be able to break it in a short period of time. Then you should also know that even if you succeed, the consequences are not something you can bear, Jun Xiaoyao said coldly. The 3 assassins of the Jin dynasty were stunned. If someone else had said this, they would have laughed coldly. In the immortal domain, there were not many people that they did not dare to assassinate. However, they could not refute Jun Xiaoyao's words. Jun Xiaoyao was one of the most respected people in the 9 Heavens immortal domain. He was backed by one of the most ancient and powerful clans in the immortal domain. If it weren't for the fact that the buyer behind them had a powerful background, they wouldn't have dared to accept this order. Then there's no need for Son of God to worry, because by that time you'll already be dead, said the expert from heaven coldly. It seems that the person who wants to buy my life has given you a lot of confidence. Jun Xiaoyao chuckled. You don't need to beat around the bush. Not telling who the buyer is the most basic virtue of an assassin. An assassin from seclusion sneered. Jun Xiaoyao shook his head and sighed. Actually, even if you don't tell me, I can roughly guess it. He did not expect the Forbidden Clan to be so efficient. However, this was exactly what he wanted. However, Jun Xiaoyao believed that just the 9 Heavens taboo clans alone wouldn't be enough to satisfy the appetite of the Jin dynasty. After all, it was too risky to assassinate him. Without paying a huge price, how could they convince the 3 assassins of the Jin dynasty? Therefore, there should be other forces involved in this. Di Haotian. Jun Xiaoyao thought of him again. After all, he was one of the few people with a bit of intelligence, and he even had a rebirth cheat. He should also want to get rid of him as soon as possible, but he also did not want the Jun family and the Xian Ting to completely fall out. That would not be good for anyone. Moreover, as someone who had been reborn, Di Haotian should also know about many opportunities. These opportunities could also be used as bargaining chips to make a deal with the 3 assassins of the Jin dynasty. In addition, Jun Xiaoyao also thought of the Grey Clan. After all, he had snatched the opportunity of the heavenly cycle Taoist in the void sky world. With the arrogant temperament of the Grey Clan, they should not be able to tolerate this. And the Grey Clan's foundation was enough to participate in this plan to kill him. As for whether the Archean royalty, the Holy Spirit clan, and so on would participate, Jun Xiaoyao was not sure. However, the forces of these 2 factions were very complicated. It should be impossible for them to participate in this plan in a short period of time. In the end, only the underworld was left. Although they had the resentment of the Holy Spirit curse, they had not revealed themselves until now. The only resentment was the Hades bloodline, which was rumored to have broken away from the underworld. However, the underworld would not target him so early. The mastermind behind this is the taboo family of the 9 Heavens, the Xian Ting, the Grey Clan. Am I right? Jun Xiaoyao clasped his hands behind his back and looked at the 3 assassins of the Jin dynasty. The 3 assassins of the Jin dynasty did not change their expressions. This was the professional quality of an assassin. However, they were surprised in their hearts. This Jun Xiaoyao's real monster did not seem to be his talent. It was his intelligence. You don't need to talk. Today is the day you die. The 3 assassins of the Jin dynasty were full of murderous intent. At this time, a young man and woman walked out of the heaven. They both had 4 wings on their backs and a bloody smell. Obviously, many creatures had died in their hands. Lords, please let us do it. Jun Xiaoyao is the best whetstone for us. The man of the young man and woman said. They looked very similar. They were twins, and their eyes were narrow with a sense of coldness. It's the twin assassins of the heaven. They're twins. They have different bodies and are united. When they carry out assassination missions, their success rate is 100%. Voices came from the secluded nation and the Blood Pagoda. Obviously, the twin assassins were very famous in the assassin circle. They were one of the most famous young prodigies. And now, they wanted to use Jun Xiaoyao as a whetstone. No, he's an ultimate heavenly venerable. He once killed a great heavenly venerable with 1 punch, someone from the heavens said. At this moment, the void suddenly split open, and the power of a sub-emperor surged. A ball of light shot toward Jun Xiaoyao. How dare you! Fufeng of Gojoseon attacked. His life and death were linked to Jun Xiaoyao. If Jun Xiaoyao died, he wouldn't be able to live either. However, from another direction, another hand of laws reached out and collided with Fufeng of Gojoseon. With a loud bang, the void exploded. Fufeng of Gojoseon's blood and qi churned as he retreated hundreds of steps. A foretribulation sub-emperor Fufeng of Gojoseon's expression was extremely ugly. At this moment, bright shackles appeared on Jun Xiaoyao's body. It was the ball of light that had just shot over. It was made of a special kind of mithril and had the ability to absorb the power of laws and limit one's realm. It's the spirit lock. It seems that the Lord has given you a chance to train, someone from the heavens said. The spirit lock could limit one's magic power and realm. Jun Xiaoyao's strength was far beyond his peers. If there were no restrictions, the result would be obvious. The twin assassins of the heaven were somewhat unhappy. They actually wanted to challenge Jun Xiaoyao in his complete form. Me too. A cold and hoarse voice was heard. A man walked out from secluded state and took off the white mask on his face, revealing a face as pale as a sheet of paper, just like an origami doll. It's the Grim Reaper. Rumor has it that he's the only monster in the younger generation of the secluded country to have completed 10 hell-level missions in a row. As soon as this person took off his white bone mask, the other 2 assassins from the Jin dynasty were shocked. Those who could walk out at this time and wanted to use Jun Xiaoyao as practice were not ordinary people. Even the twin assassins looked at the Grim Reaper with a dignified expression. They were competitors competing for the title of the young king of the assassin circle. The blood pagoda was naturally not to be outdone. A man in blood-red clothes stepped out. There was a blood-red demonic ring behind him, which seemed to contain tens of thousands of wailing, resentful spirits. This was because too many living beings had been killed. The demonic ring condensed represented great sin, and of course, it was also a symbol of strength. The strongest successor of the Blood Pagoda has also come out. The top geniuses of the Jin dynasty of the 3 assassins walked out. Sparks flew in each other's eyes, obviously wanting to compete. Why don't we compete and see who can kill Jun Xiaoyao in the end? The man in the twin assassin's hands said. Sure, Jun Xiaoyao will be the most precious prey in my hands, the Grim Reaper whispered. To be able to kill someone like Jun Xiaoyao is also a legend, enough to be recorded in the history of the assassin world. The successor of the Blood Pagoda revealed a sinister smile. It was hard to imagine that the hero of the mystic realm, the person with the most noble status and the most monstrous talent. Now, he was treated as prey and a whetstone. If this news spread, it would definitely make many people angry. Chapter 1207. Jun Xiaoyao, on the other hand, was very calm about it. He had the spirit lock on him, which could limit his strength. That was why these assassins of the Jin dynasty dared to provoke him. Bad guys, you are all bad guys. Little Evers now shrank beside Jun Xiaoyao, her big eyes as clear as gemstones were filled with fear and disgust. Jun Xiaoyao touched her little head, his expression still calm. At this moment, a chain that seemed to be formed by holy light suddenly shot through the void. The top of the chain was connected to a light blade. Those were the twin assassins of heaven, who couldn't help but take the initiative to attack. It could be said that whoever could kill Jun Xiaoyao with their own hand, regardless of whether their reputation was good or bad, it would definitely be passed down for billions of years. This was also a kind of honor for the assassins. Jun Xiaoyao's feet flashed, and he stepped into the void. One of his palms struck out, colliding with the light blade chain. The blade of light, which could easily pierce through even a supreme being, burst into sparks in Jun Xiaoyao's hand. What? The twin assassins were surprised. Wasn't Jun Xiaoyao bound by the spirit lock? How could he still have such strength? You are too weak. Let me, the Grim Reaper of Seclusion whispered. He summoned a 9-story white bone pagoda. Upon closer inspection, the pagoda was densely packed with human heads. This was his spoils of war, a white bone pagoda made of human heads, which had been refined into a top-level supreme weapon by a big shot. The 9-story white bone pagoda fell down, carrying with it a monstrous resentment. This pagoda actually had the effect of soul attack. The cries of countless dead souls poured into Jun Xiaoyao's sea of consciousness. Jun Xiaoyao was completely unaffected. He used the Kuan Peng's great magical power, and stepped on the Kuan Peng's extreme speed. He landed in front of the twin assassins of heaven at an incredible speed. With a punch, the power of 3,000 summers surged, and the void was annihilated. This pair of twins had shocked expressions. Unexpectedly, they had attacked with all their strength, bringing out powerful methods and killing moves, but they were still instantly killed. At this moment, a blood-dripping sword ray appeared. It was the heir of the Blood Pagoda. He wielded the divine sword dripping blood and wanted to sneak up on Jun Xiaoyao. In his hands, the killing path saint art was used to perfection, and he could easily kill a powerhouse of the same level. In the end, Jun Xiaoyao merely flicked his finger and destroyed the divine sword dripping blood. The successor of the Blood Pagoda coughed up blood and retreated, his face filled with horror. At the same time, the Grim Reaper and the 9-story human skull pagoda emitted turbid yellow water, which carried with it a corrosive aura of the netherworld. That was the water of the Yellow Springs, which came from the underworld. Just like the Spring of Life, it was a rarely seen divine water. However, its effect was the opposite of the Spring of Life. The Spring of Life was filled with vitality. It was a supreme medicine that could heal the dead and bring bones back to life. As for the water of the Yellow Springs, it was rumored that anyone who touched it would die. It possessed a terrifying corrosive and cursing power. It was unknown how many vengeful souls had melted in the water of the Yellow Springs. Seeing this, Jun Xiaoyao sneered. With a flick of his finger, a drop of blood emitting the aura of chaos shot out. That was the chaos blood. Jun Xiaoyao had the chaos physique. The blood in his body was no different from the blood of a true connate chaotic physique. It was the rare chaos blood. What were the characteristics of the chaos blood? It contained and devoured everything. Only when all the powers in the world merged together would it be called the chaos blood. After the drop of chaos blood fell into the water of the Yellow Springs, it caused the water to boil. The various corrosive curses in it disappeared, dissolved by the chaos blood. How is this possible? Even the Grim Reaper, who had always been expressionless, had a change in expression. His Yellow Springs water lost its effect and became ordinary water. It no longer had the corrosive curse effect. Jun Xiaoyao raised his palm and lightning flashed. The Thunder Emperor's great theurgy was unleashed. Thousands of light of calamity appeared and fell on the Grim Reaper. The 9-floored pagoda of human heads was blasted into pieces. The Grim Reaper screamed and died as a charred corpse. In the end, only the successor of the Blood Pagoda was left. A wave of cold air surged from his heart. Who was the prey? The spirit lock has no effect? The successor of the Blood Pagoda was terrified. For an assassin, that was already a disqualification. The spirit lock can restrain 30 to 40% of my power, but 10% is enough to deal with you. Jun Xiaoyao pressed down with his palm. Help me! The successor of the Blood Pagoda roared. However, the people of the Blood Pagoda were indifferent. You have lost the right to be the successor of the Blood Pagoda, someone said coldly. The successor of the Blood Pagoda was stunned, and his face was filled with despair. Puff! He was smashed into a bloody mist by Jun Xiaoyao's palm. Who could have imagined? Just a moment ago, these prodigies were still arguing about who could kill Jun Xiaoyao with their own hand. In less than a moment, they were all dead. As expected of the assassins of the Jin dynasty. Your blood is cold. Seeing their own prodigies die in front of them, the 3 assassins of the Jin dynasty were indifferent. They can't even defeat you with the spirit lock. They don't have the right to continue living. The world of assassins is a survival of the fittest world. The strong live and the weak die. But they are not completely useless. At least they can confirm that you are definitely here in your true body, not an illusory one. If a Dharma body with the spirit lock could kill the 3 assassins of the Jin dynasty in seconds, then these prodigies were really living like dogs. So, you are using their lives to test my authenticity? Jun Xiaoyao raised his eyebrows. He had to admit that the 3 assassins of the Jin dynasty were really a professional team. They did not make any mistakes in any way, leaving no trace of luck. The 3 assassins of the Jin dynasty did not say anything, but obviously that was what they meant. Then you should also find out what trump cards I have. Jun Xiaoyao sneered. His trump cards were not only Jun Wuhui's protective talisman, but also many protective ancient artifacts. Of course, more importantly, there was the Dharma body of the God of Faith that he used to fight against calamity. Of course, we have investigated this. After all, even the ultimate calamity died in your hand. But your Dharma body should not have time to accumulate the power of faith. As for other means, we have also prepared. So today, no one can save you. After the three assassins of the Jin dynasty finished speaking, they did not delay any longer and were about to attack. Jun Xiaoyao's lips curled up. Indeed, the three assassins of the Jin dynasty had carefully prepared. It could be said that they had taken many situations into consideration. But there were also things that they did not take into account. The three assassins of the Jin dynasty, and even the real mastermind behind it, would never have thought of this. Jun Xiaoyao had already expected all of this. Or rather, it was exactly what Jun Xiaoyao wanted. Kill. The three assassins of the Jin dynasty attacked. How dare you! Fufeng of Gojoseon attacked, his quasi-emperor aura surging. His life had long been tied to Jun Xiaoyao's, and at this time, the quasi-emperor hiding behind the scenes finally appeared. On heaven's side endless light surged. A nine-winged angel appeared. This was the quasi-emperor expert of heaven. Then, ghostly energy surged, as if the gates of hell had been opened. The quasi-emperor of the secluded country also appeared. He was dressed in black armor and held a dark heavenly blade. A sea of blood appeared, and a blood-colored figure stepped on the sea of blood. The quasi-emperor expert of the Blood Pagoda also appeared. The quasi-emperors of the Jin dynasty of the three assassins had appeared together. It could be said that this kind of extravagance to surround and kill a young prodigy could be said to be unprecedented in history. This lineup could even kill a quasi-emperor below the fourth tribulation. But Jun Xiaoyao's expression did not change even if Mount Tai collapsed in front of him. Chapter 1208. The three great assassins were quasi-emperors from the Jin dynasty, and the weakest of them was a third tribulation quasi-emperor. There was also a fourth tribulation quasi-emperor, the great nine-winged angel from heaven. The great nine-winged angel from heaven was a fourth tribulation quasi-emperor. The secluded nation and the Blood Pagoda each had a third tribulation quasi-emperor. And here, there was only Fufeng of Gojoseon, a second tribulation quasi-emperor. It could be said that this was a hopeless lineup, and it was impossible to break through. Killing a chicken with a butcher's knife. This time, we are betting on the future of the Jin dynasty. So, son of God of the Jun family, I'm sorry. You saved the celestial realm, but you can't save yourself. The great nine-winged angel of heaven's fourth tribulation quasi-emperor flapped his 9 light wings, and his powerful quasi-emperor aura shook the void. Countless nomological laws turned into killing lights and condensed in the void. They also looked like sword feathers. Each sword feather could easily penetrate a giant ancient star. In the eyes of a quasi-emperor, even the monstrous Jun Xiaoyao was like an ant. No matter how heaven-defying and unreasonable Jun Xiaoyao was, he could only cause trouble in the seventh tribulation supremacy realm. And quasi-emperors had already surpassed the seventh tribulation supremacy realm. They had transcended the ninth tribulation to attain the Tao. Although they had yet to attain the complete Tao, they had already figured out a vague path and formed some embryonic forms of the great Tao. Kill. The great nine-winged angel let out a murderous roar, and his voice shook heaven and earth. Of course, they had set up the Divine Realm Sky Restriction Array and the Sky Confusion Array. Therefore, the fluctuations from the battle could not be transmitted to the outside world. You dare to attack Master? You are dead meat. No matter where you go, you will not be able to survive. Fufeng of Gojoseon shouted and rushed out. He was indeed very afraid of death. Otherwise, he would not have been so cowardly when he faced Jun Wuhui back then. But now, he had to attack even if he didn't want to. Moreover, he had experienced Jun Wuhui's strength. Although the quasi-emperors in front of him were all stronger than him, they were only slightly stronger. And facing Jun Wuhui, Fufeng of Gojoseon felt like he was an ant that was being pinched at the fingertip. Jun Wuhui crushed it lightly. They were not on the same level at all. Then I'll kill you first. You guys go deal with him. The great nine-winged angel ordered the others to attack. To be honest, with their status, they really didn't have much interest in attacking a lesser Empyrean. The three quasi-emperors had made their move. They had to kill Fufeng of Gojoseon in the shortest time possible. That was because he was the only one who caught their attention. He was almost at the same level as them. Jun Xiaoyao, your legend will end in the hands of the assassins of the Jin dynasty. In the future, our assassins of the Jin dynasty will be passed down for generations to come. A mystique, venerable rank assassin from heaven sneered. Passed down through the ages? You're thinking too much. No matter what the outcome is today, there is no place for you in this world. Jun Xiaoyao flicked his sleeve. Violent chaotic energy surged, and the supreme divine blood in his body boiled. The fourth supreme technique was activated. His overall strength increased by several times. 3,000 Sumer worlds vibrated, and the universe shook. Then, with a loud bang, the spirit lock on Jun Xiaoyao's body shattered into countless shards and shot out in all directions. Eversnow, I'm sorry to have dragged you into this. Step back. Jun Xiaoyao left little Eversnow behind him and charged out. Little Eversnow was crying, and bean-sized tears kept falling from her big eyes. However, what no one noticed was, there seemed to be some kind of strange whirlpool spinning in little Eversnow's eyes, bringing with it a mysterious and unpredictable feeling. Even little Eversnow herself did not notice it. She only felt very panicked and scared, and her heart started to beat faster. As for the three assassins of the Jin dynasty, they ignored little Eversnow for the time being. Their attention was on Jun Xiaoyao. At worst, they could just wait for Jun Xiaoyao to die and then silence him. This was a group of cold-blooded death gods. They would not let little Eversnow live just because she was a child. Jun Xiaoyao, your legend is about to end. A Tao Master of Heaven directly attacked, wanting to end the battle as quickly as possible. At the same time, the Tao Masters of Secluded Nation and Blood Pagoda also attacked. Three big hands reached for Jun Xiaoyao at the same time. All of them wanted to kill Jun Xiaoyao. The reason was very simple. With Jun Xiaoyao's talent, even his corpse was priceless. That drop of chaotic blood could be sold for a sky-high price. Not to mention an entire chaotic body. Including Jun Xiaoyao, as the son of God of the Jun family, naturally had all kinds of resources and treasures. It could be said that Jun Xiaoyao himself was a huge moving treasure trove. The three Tao Masters of the Jin dynasty naturally did not want to let go of this benefit. Do you all really think I'm a fat sheep that everyone wants to kill? Jun Xiaoyao sneered. He took out one ancient artifact after another from his spatial artifact. For example, broken wooden swords, tattered armor, ancient talismans, and so on. These were all protective treasures given to him by the ancestors of the Jun family. Jun Xiaoyao had used them when he was exploring the Bronze Immortal Palace, but he did not use them much after that, because there was nothing that could threaten him. But now, some Tao Masters and Divine Venerables were shamelessly attacking him. Jun Xiaoyao had no choice but to take out these protective ancient artifacts. These things can't stop us. The Tao Master of Heaven snorted, raised his hand and clashed with the broken wooden swords, causing a shocking explosion. The Tao Masters and Divine Venerables of Secluded Nation and Blood Pagoda were also blocked by the ancient talismans, bronze bells, and other artifacts. Of course, there were also lesser heavenly venerables, greater heavenly venerables, and even mystique venerables. Jun Xiaoyao's lips curled into a cold smile. Of course, I know I can't stop them for long, but I just need to buy some time. Even if I die in the end, I still need to kill a few people, right? Jun Xiaoyao was wearing that tattered armor, which provided him with an additional layer of defense. This was the ancient artifact used by the ancestors of the Jun family. Kill. There was no mercy to speak of. The 3 Tao masters of the Jin dynasty wanted to use him as a whetstone to practice their skills. But now, Jun Xiaoyao was using the 3 Tao masters of the Jin dynasty to practice his skills. He was going to kill them all. Jun Xiaoyao's divine blood of the supreme stage boiled, flowing through his limbs and bones. His entire body was wrapped in a ball of divine flame, burning brightly. It was not a real flame, but a blood flame formed by the divine blood of the supreme stage. The divine blood of the supreme stage was the form of the supreme bone after its transformation. It was also one of the top talents. Jun Xiaoyao rarely used it, but it did not mean that this talent was not strong. His strength had increased by several times. The Kuan Peng Grand Mystique in his left hand and the Fiend God Grand Mystique in his right. The Kuan Peng's infinite divine fist and the heaven-splitting Fiend God fist were both executed by him at the same time. Wherever the fist passed, the lesser heavenly venerables of the 3 assassin dynasties were unable to withstand it and their bodies exploded. This was unimaginable. Cultivators who could cultivate to this level were not ordinary people. Even when facing an extreme supremacy of the same level, they could withstand 2 or 3 moves. But now, they could not even withstand 1 punch from Jun Xiaoyao. But this was not the most ridiculous thing. This was because even a Grand Empyrean was knocked back by this terrifying punch. He coughed out large mouthfuls of blood, and the arm he used to attack with shattered. What kind of monster is this? Some great heavenly venerables roared with bloodshot eyes. When they heard that Jun Xiaoyao had killed great heavenly venerables with a single punch, they did not believe it. Because it was extraordinarily difficult for a 7th-stage supremacy to kill someone of a higher level. But now, the truth was right in front of them, and they were helpless. An anomaly could not be judged by common sense. How dare a person who is about to die be so presumptuous? At this moment, an extremely cold voice sounded. It was the mystique venerables of the 3 Jin dynasty great heavenly venerables, who were charging at Jun Xiaoyao. The power of this level was not something a great heavenly venerate could compare to. Chapter 1209. It was not an exaggeration to say that every step of the supremacy realm was like ascending to heaven. This was also why it was harder than ascending to the heavens to challenge those of a higher realm after the supremacy realm. Even some monstrous prodigies could only reign supreme among those of the same realm at most. In the face of an expert who was a level higher than him, he seemed somewhat powerless. However, Jun Xiaoyao was different. Those of the same realm were no match for him. They were no different from ants. Even a grand heavenly venerable who was 1 level stronger than him could only vomit blood and fly backward when faced with the powerful Jun Xiaoyao. However, the one who was about to make a move. It was not a lesser heavenly venerable of the same realm, nor was it a grand heavenly venerable of a higher realm. It was a supreme mystique venerable. The word supreme was enough to prove that there was a qualitative difference between a powerhouse of this level and a grand heavenly venerable. They could not be mentioned in the same breath. The 3 assassins, the Jin dynasty's Tao venerable and godly venerable rank powerhouses, were temporarily blocked by Jun Xiaoyao's ancient weapons. Lesser heavenly venerables and grand heavenly venerables were no match for Jun Xiaoyao. Therefore, only a supreme mystique venerable could make a move. Sword of Judgment. The heavens mystique venerable rank powerhouse raised his hand. Endless power of law gathered and formed a sword of law that seemed to be able to sever heaven and earth. Fierce fluctuations surged in all directions. This move widened the gap between him and a grand heavenly venerable. It was not just the heavens mystique venerable rank powerhouse. The secluded nation and blood Buddha's mystique venerable rank powerhouses also made a move. Bullying the weak was not important at all. They were a group of assassins who did not care about their reputation. The secluded nation's mystique venerable rank powerhouse took out hundreds of formation flags and formed a small killing array. However, its power was limitless and could easily kill a heavenly venerable rank powerhouse. The Blood Buddha's powerhouse held a blood-stained dagger that glowed with a faint green light. It was obviously dipped in poison. Facing the encirclement of mystique, venerable rank powerhouses, even someone as strong as Jun Xiaoyao had to be cautious. He was not blindly confident. He had a clear understanding of his own strength. Jun Xiaoyao took out his two weapons. The myriad qi cauldron floated above his head. As it rotated, strands of myriad qi descended, each strand capable of crushing the void. The everlasting sword embryo shone with sharp and resplendent light. The sword seemed to reflect the entire universe. The immortal patterns on it lit up, scattering down a brilliant rain of light. One had to know that Jun Xiaoyao had never used a weapon when fighting. But now, he had taken out the myriad qi cauldron and the Daluo sword embryo. This showed just how cautious Jun Xiaoyao was. Boom! Jun Xiaoyao faced off against a mystique venerable one. The heavenly lord of heaven's sword of judgment slashed toward Jun Xiaoyao. Jun Xiaoyao used the myriad qi cauldron to defend himself as he attacked. With a loud explosion, the myriad qi cauldron remained unscathed. What a great weapon! It's actually refined with the myriad source qi as the foundation. It's not far from being an imperial armament. The mystique venerable one from heaven looked at the myriad qi cauldron with greed in his eyes. The mystique venerable ones from seclusion and blood pagoda charged forward. Jun Xiaoyao slashed out with the everlasting sword embryo. The resplendent sword light tore through the heavens and earth. Each ray was 10,000 miles long. Destructive ripples erupted. Even someone as powerful as Jun Xiaoyao felt the impact and was under immense pressure. Fortunately, he was wearing a tattered armor. It was actually an ancient artifact with terrifying defensive power. Otherwise, it would not have been gifted to Jun Xiaoyao by the ancestors of the Jun family as a protective artifact. How is this possible? Jun Xiaoyao actually blocked off a round of attacks from mystique venerable ones. The other assassins from the Jin dynasty of the three great assassins were all dumbfounded. Challenging someone of a higher level was already heaven-defying enough. Challenging a supreme mystique venerable ones 2 levels above him was too much, wasn't it? No matter how strong the others were, they had to abide by the rules of their level. Jun Xiaoyao didn't care about martial arts ethics at all, nor did he play by the rules. It must be because of that protective armor. It blocked most of the power for Jun Xiaoyao. Even so, it's terrifying enough. If it were anyone else, even with an ancient artifact protecting them, they would not be able to fight against a mystique venerable ones. The people from the Jin dynasty of the three great assassins only understood now. They did not understand why Jun Xiaoyao was rumored to be such a god. He was truly a heaven-defying anomaly. Junior, don't be so arrogant. In front of us mystique venerables, you are just an ant. The mystique venerable one from heaven looked displeased. Jun Xiaoyao was able to stop him despite the fact that he was bullying someone weaker than him. He had nowhere to put his face. 100,000 killing swords. The mystique venerable one from heaven shouted and used his ultimate move. The light wings on his back trembled. Light feathers formed from precepts fell. They turned into 100,000 terrifying killing swords and formed a formation in the air. They formed a terrifying rain of death swords and charged toward Jun Xiaoyao. At the same time, the mystique venerable ones from secluded nation and blood pagoda also used their ultimate move. They wanted to fight for Jun Xiaoyao, their prey. So what if you are a supreme mystique venerable? Do you really think that I, the son of God, am easy to bully? Jun Xiaoyao's eyes were sharp, and his aura shook the world. Even though he was in a desperate situation, Jun Xiaoyao did not back down. This was the pride that was rooted in Jun Xiaoyao's bones. He was the son of God of the Jun family. He was an unparalleled monster since he was born. Even someone as strong as the ultimate disaster had been ended by his hands. Moreover, these were just a few mystique venerable ones from the Jin dynasty. The supreme divine blood in Jun Xiaoyao's body boiled, and all his attributes increased by several times. Behind him, chaotic energy surged, as if a vast demon god was splitting the world apart. Chaotic body, chaos splitting the heavens. At the same time, the power of the 3,000 Sumer worlds surged in his body. It was as if 3,000 worlds were surging out. Jun Xiaoyao used the Daluo sword embryo to perform the 5 great sword techniques, fusing them into one to form a shocking sword. Slash! Boom! An unprecedentedly huge wave erupted. The shock waves gave people the illusion that the intensity was no less than a great battle between boundary emperors in the depths of the universe. Amidst this smoke, even the void was destroyed. The 3 mystique venerable ones from the Jin dynasty were all forced back a few steps. Of course, Jun Xiaoyao was also forced back. His body was shaking and his blood was churning. Hundreds of the 3,000 Sumer worlds in his body were shattered. Even more cracks had appeared on the tattered armor on his body. It was on the verge of being scrapped. The mystique venerable ones from heaven narrowed their eyes when they saw the cracks on the armor. Jun Xiaoyao, you are indeed unexpected. You can actually withstand a round of our attacks. But you, how many more moves can you take? Take another 10,000 steps back. Even if you can withstand our attacks, can you survive today? The mystique venerable ones from heaven were speaking the truth. In the sky, Fufeng of Gojoseon was in a desperate situation. He was surrounded by 3 boundary emperors and spat out mouthfuls of blood. He was on the verge of death. There were also the Dao venerables and godly venerables from the Jin dynasty. They were about to suppress the many ancient artifacts that Jun Xiaoyao had taken out. There were also a few mystique venerables who were eyeing him covetously. It could be said that in such a situation, no one could reverse the situation. However, Jun Xiaoyao suddenly smiled. He slowly raised his hand. A drop of black blood, as dark as the night, floated quietly in his palm. The heavenly black blood. Heaven, you cannot make me kneel. Earth, you cannot make me kneel. The likes of you are still far from enough. As soon as he finished speaking, Jun Xiaoyao directly slapped the heavenly black blood into his body. At this moment, the shackles of darkness were broken. The Grim Reaper had descended. Chapter 12:10. Endless dark energy exploded in Jun Xiaoyao's body. It was the heavenly black blood, the purest form of black blood. If it were anyone else, they would have gone mad if this drop of black blood merged with them. However, Jun Xiaoyao was different. This was not the first time he had merged with it. In the Avacania lands, the source of the Styx, he had merged with a drop of black blood. After that, he merged the heavenly black blood into his god's Dharma body during the battle against the ultimate calamity. Therefore, Jun Xiaoyao was familiar with this power and could control it. The power of the heavenly black blood allowed Jun Xiaoyao to enter dark mode, increasing all his attributes. Boom! It was as if an ancient demon god had awakened, or as if the Grim Reaper had walked out of the gates of hell. Thick black fog spread out in all directions. Be careful, that's black blood! An assassin exclaimed. No one wanted to be tainted by the black fog. Jun Xiaoyao could adapt and prevent himself from falling into madness. However, it did not mean that others could do the same. This time, many of the Jin dynasty's lesser heavenly venerables and greater heavenly venerables were tainted by the black fog. Illusions appeared before their eyes, and they felt as if they had fallen into endless darkness. Even their primordial spirits were corroded. Ah! An assassin held his head and screamed. This was the purest heavenly black blood, not the impure black blood from the foreign lands. Therefore, the corrosive power was stronger. Damn it! Seeing this, the faces of the Jin dynasty's mystique, venerable rank powerhouses darkened. An Empyrean-level assassin was not some cabbage on the street that could be casually nurtured. Now that so many of them had died, it was a great loss for the Jin dynasty's top 3 assassins. You should worry about your own lives first. A cold voice sounded. The Jin dynasty's mystique, venerable rank powerhouses suddenly turned their eyes to Jun Xiaoyao, who was surrounded by the black fog. At this moment, Jun Xiaoyao's black hair had turned white like snow. 3,000 strands of white hair floated in the air, cold and bleak. A pair of bottomless eyes glittered with a faint purple light, ancient, evil, and incomparably strange. Eye of Denuma. At this moment, Jun Xiaoyao's temperament was even colder and more terrifying than the three assassins of the Jin dynasty. He was like a supreme demon lord. That was how Jun Xiaoyao looked like in dark mode. It was even more powerful and terrifying than when he merged with the black blood in the other side. It was because the drop of black blood he merged with in the other side, compared to the heavenly heaven black blood, still had a qualitative difference. They could feel Jun Xiaoyao's terrifying might that could shake the void and destroy the heavens. Even though the three assassins were mystique venerable ones from the Jin dynasty, their hearts were racing. Jun Xiaoyao, as the hero who saved a mortal domain, you are actually using the foreign black blood power. It really is ironic. Heaven's mystic venerable shouted coldly. I never said that I was a hero. Moreover, don't you think it's even more ironic for a bunch of gutter rats to say such things? Jun Xiaoyao's lips curled into a cold smile. How dare you? The three assassins were mystique venerable ones from the Jin dynasty. They immediately attacked, and their supreme mystique venerable aura swept through the world. Jun Xiaoyao's current state was extremely strange. However, they did not think that Jun Xiaoyao could pose any threat to them, even though he was 2 ranks higher. Heaven's forbidden song. Soul-subduing incantation. Blood world swallows the heavens. The group of mystique venerable ones used shocking secret technique. It could be said that even mystique venerable ones of the same rank would be severely injured and die under such a siege. Meanwhile, Jun Xiaoyao held his sword in one hand and slowly raised his other hand. Densely packed living sacrificial runes started to appear around him. It was as if countless living beings were crying and wailing at Jun Xiaoyao's feet. The scene was extremely strange and terrifying. What is that? Noticing this strange scene, some of the Jin dynasty assassins exclaimed. Then, someone screamed in horror. Blood-colored flowers grew out of a grand heavenly venerable's body. The flowers looked as if they had been watered with fresh blood, evil and cold. At the same time, the laws in this heavenly venerable's body were being shattered and absorbed by the blood-colored flowers. These flowers were the devil's snare flowers. Jun Xiaoyao's move was his self-created Origin Great Path superpower, the third move of Genesis, God's sacrifice. It was a terrifying forbidden move inspired by the power of sacrifice of the dark heaven lineage. Sacrifice all living beings to nourish oneself. Right now, the ones being sacrificed were undoubtedly the 3 assassins from the Jin dynasty. It was hard to imagine that Jun Xiaoyao, who had fused with the dark heaven blood, could use the Origin Great Path superpower. Its power was simply indescribable. Devil's snare flowers grew out of the assassins' bodies. When the flowers bloomed, it was also time for them to turn into ashes. Damn it! It was not just the lesser heavenly venerables and grand heavenly venerables. Even the mystique venerables from the Jin dynasty, who were the 3 assassins, had blood-colored devil's snare flowers growing out of their bodies. Of course, they were stronger and could still resist for a while. However, they had already suffered heavy injuries. The power of laws in their bodies had been destroyed and absorbed. After Jun Xiaoyao used God's sacrifice, he held the Zenith Heaven sword embryo in his hand. A brilliance that seemed to have come from the beginning of the world appeared on the sword. Genesis, light of God. A wisp of sword light slashed out as if it was splitting heaven and earth. This sword had fused with light of God, the power of the dark blood, and the universe origin power in Jun Xiaoyao's body. That wasn't the power of the dust world from before. It was the power of a minor chiliocosm. This power was completely incomparable to the previous one. Pucci. The sword slashed through. The blood Buddha's mystique venerable's blood splattered everywhere as his body was split into two. Devil's snare flowers bloomed all over his severed body. First one. Jun Xiaoyao was like the Grim Reaper as he whispered coldly. Then, the terrifying blood-colored power of sin appeared and entangled the zenith heaven sword embryo. Genesis, God's punishment was used. Boundless chains of sin slashed out along with the sword. The more sins one had, the stronger the power of this sword. The blood and sin on these assassins' hands were clearly indescribable. A group of assassins fell like wheat being harvested. Blood splattered across the sky. Finally, the sword light landed on the mystique venerable from seclusion. No! The mystique venerable from seclusion roared. His body was entangled by chains of sin and covered in devil's snare flowers. This was like heaven's punishment for him. It was God's punishment. As the devil's snare flowers bloomed, this mystique venerable's body and origin spirit also withered. Finally, light of God and God's punishment merged into one on the zenith heaven sword embryo. It turned into a destructive sword light that crossed thousands of miles and slashed toward the mystique venerable from heaven. The mystique venerable from heaven roared. At the same time, his originally cold and arrogant eyes started to tremble. He had never imagined that he would be forced to such a state by a junior. He was the killing venerable of heaven and had a fierce reputation. Indiscriminate destruction. The mystique venerable from heaven roared. He burned all the essence of the law of life in one final attack. But there was no other way. With the support of the supreme divine blood, the azure black blood, and the origin great path's power, the attack was too powerful. Jun Xiaoyao's attack was unparalleled. The mystique venerable would also be turned into ashes by this attack. The mystique venerable from heaven also died in disbelief and regret. Crack! The tattered armor on Jun Xiaoyao's body was filled with cracks as well, which eventually fell apart. The mystique venerable from heaven's final attack was indeed not weak. It completely shattered this ancient artifact. At this moment, Jun Xiaoyao's white hair fluttered in the wind as he held the zenith heaven sword embryo. He was the handsome white-haired Grim Reaper who brought darkness and death to everyone. He's dead. Jun Xiaoyao defied the heavens and killed a mystique venerable. The remaining 3 assassins from the Jin dynasty trembled. They felt like their minds had been turned upside down. Jun Xiaoyao had crossed 2 levels and killed multiple mystique venerables. They simply couldn't believe their eyes. Even these cold-blooded assassins felt like their hearts were about to explode. They even felt a little dazed. Was Jun Xiaoyao the prey, or were they the prey? At this moment, a loud shout came from the void. How dare a person who is about to die be so arrogant? They were the 3 assassins from the Jin dynasty. They were godly venerables and Tao venerables. They had already suppressed those ancient artifacts. They looked at the bloody battlefield and the corpses of the lesser heavenly venerables, greater heavenly venerables, and mystique venerables. Their hearts were bleeding. It was fine if the young prodigies from before had died. They could nurture batch after batch of such prodigies, just like raising venomous insects. However, the death of these experts was a great loss to the 3 assassins from the Jin dynasty. Junior, fighting like a cornered beast will only make your death more painful. The godly venerables and Tao venerables charged at Jun Xiaoyao with rage in their eyes. Chapter 12:11. It could be said that even the 3 great assassins of the Jin dynasty did not expect this. They actually paid such a huge price to deal with a junior like Jun Xiaoyao. Many junior heavenly venerables and grand heavenly venerables had died. Even the supreme mystic venerables had fallen. As for the younger generation of assassins, there was no need to talk about them. They had fallen in droves. At this moment, Jun Xiaoyao was too terrifying. He was simply like a white-haired demon lord who could destroy the world. Although they had already overestimated Jun Xiaoyao's strength, Jun Xiaoyao had still subverted their imaginations. Who would have thought that a junior heavenly venerate would be able to kill a mystic venerate? Today, even the heavenly emperor can't save you. The three great assassins of the Jin dynasty all reached out to grab Jun Xiaoyao. One by one, the nomological hands seemed to be overturning the sky. Jun Xiaoyao held the Daluo sword embryo in his hand. He looked up and sighed softly. It was already extremely heaven-defying for him to be able to do this. There were only a few junior heavenly venerables who could kill a mystic venerate in the entire mystic realm. And now, even a Dao venerate was attacking him. No matter how heaven-defying Jun Xiaoyao was, he could not go against the common sense of cultivation and fight against Dao venerate Hun Dun. In fact, even when fighting against a mystic venerate, Jun Xiaoyao had already used part of his trump card. Of course, it was only part of it. Jun Xiaoyao had never been one to reveal all of his trump cards. Only by being 30% frivolous and 70% secretive could he be in an invincible position, facing the joint attack of the three great assassins of the Jin dynasty. Jun Xiaoyao raised his hand and took out Jun Wuhui's talisman. On it, the words, "A gentleman has no regrets in his life," bloomed with radiant light. A hazy white-robed figure appeared. It was as if he had transcended the heavens and suppressed time and space. "Have you finally taken it out?" The three great assassins of the Jin dynasty, the Dao venerates, and the supreme gods all froze. They dared to assassinate Jun Xiaoyao because they were fully prepared. After all, the vanguard of the three great clans had been killed by this move. The image of the white-robed divine king sat cross-legged in the void. His radiance shone through the ages and crushed the heavens. Even a quasi-emperor could not ignore that aura. The three assassins, the Jin dynasty's Dao masters and godly venerables, quickly retreated. They knew that it would be difficult for them to deal with Jun Wuhui's protective talisman. However, since they knew how powerful Jun Wuhui's talisman was, they had already thought of a way to deal with it. Do you really think a talisman can protect you?" In the depths of the sky, the heavenly hall quasi-emperor who was besieging the Fufeng of Gojoseon, the nine-winged angel, let out a cold snort that was as loud as thunder. With a raise of his hand, tens of thousands of laws interweaved. Ancient runes were manifesting, turning into a terrifying killing zone. "That's an ancient killing array." Jun Xiaoyao narrowed his eyes. The great nine-winged angel brought out a corner of an ancient and terrifying killing formation. Jun Xiaoyao was not unfamiliar with this. This was because the Jun family had used the third ancient killing formation during the immortal battle in the Huangtian mystic realm. When he was training in the wilderness, a group of Archean royalty prodigies had joined forces to bring out an incomplete corner of the ninth ancient killing formation in order to kill him. And now, the great nine-winged angel of heaven had brought out a part of the seventh ancient killing formation. It was the seventh most powerful killing formation since ancient times. It was reasonable for the Jin dynasty assassins to have an ancient killing formation. This was not the complete seventh ancient killing formation. However, when it was brought out by a quasi-emperor, its power was completely incomparable to the ninth killing formation used by the Archean royalty prodigies in the wilderness. Rumble! It was as if billions of bloody thunderbolts were exploding. The seventh ancient killing formation seemed to have evolved into an incomparably terrifying blood tribulation realm. The seventh ancient killing formation suppressed Jun Wuhui's talisman. It might not be able to completely suppress it, but it could at least delay it for a while. "It seems that you guys have really put in a lot of effort to deal with me." Seeing this, Jun Xiaoyao smiled coldly. The three great assassins of the Jin dynasty had really prepared for everything. Even when he brought out his talisman, he still brought out the seventh ancient killing formation to fight against them. Of course. After all, you are Jun Xiaoyao. It's not too much to be cautious when dealing with you. A chaotic Dao master from heaven said coldly. To be honest, after fighting for so long, they really admired Jun Xiaoyao a little. If it were anyone else of the same generation, they would only feel despair when faced with such a situation. However, Jun Xiaoyao was still calm and composed. That kind of temperament was not something that ordinary people could compare to. But unfortunately, no matter how talented you are still a speck of dust in the end. Everything is over. The chaotic Tao Master from heaven pressed down on Jun Xiaoyao with a large hand, surrounded by primitive chaotic qi. This was somewhat similar to the chaotic power of the chaotic body, but it was not the same. The chaotic power of the chaotic body was an innate power that came with it. On the other hand, the chaotic power of the chaotic Tao was obtained through the comprehension of the great Tao of chaos. This was also why the chaotic Tao Master was at the top of the seven supremes. This was because they had already begun to comprehend the various great Tao rules and order in the chaos. As for the quasi-emperors, they had already comprehended some embryonic forms of the great Tao. Then, after going through the tempering of the 9 tribulations, they had attained the great Tao that truly belonged to them. This was the so-called affirmation of the Tao to become an emperor. As the peak of the 7 supremes, the chaotic Tao Master's strength was naturally not comparable to the previous supreme mystic venerables. If Jun Xiaoyao wanted to block this palm, he would have to pay a great price. And just as the chaotic Tao Master's large hand was about to press down on Jun Xiaoyao, a crisp and young voice with a hint of sobbing but still determined sounded. "Don't bully Daddy." A petite figure flashed in front of Jun Xiaoyao. It was little Evers now. She spread her arms and stood in front of Jun Xiaoyao. Her big eyes were red and sparkling with tears. Seeing Jun Xiaoyao facing so many enemies alone, she was heartbroken and afraid that something would happen to Jun Xiaoyao. Humph! The chaotic Tao Master of the Heavenly Hall was expressionless and cold as ice as he continued to press down with his palm. They had also investigated. This little girl was brought out from the void sky world by Jun Xiaoyao. It might be some kind of opportunity. Di Haotian had once told the 3 assassins about the Jin dynasty through the purple flame sovereign of heaven. That little girl might have some background. The 3 assassins did not care too much about the Jin dynasty. So what if she had some background? With the 3 quasi-emperors here, everything was not a problem. The chaotic Tao Master's large hand continued to press down. He wanted to bury little Evers now and Jun Xiaoyao together. Boom! The chaotic Tao Master's large hand completely enveloped that space, suppressing Jun Xiaoyao and little Evers now. Then, the chaotic Tao Master's 5 hands suddenly squeezed. The void seemed to be about to be crushed. It's over. Seeing this scene, the remaining 3 assassins of the Jin dynasty secretly sighed. To be honest, this encirclement was really unexpected. Jun Xiaoyao did live up to his reputation. However, at this moment, the chaotic Tao Master of the Heavenly Hall suddenly felt his heart skip a beat as he sensed that something was wrong. He saw that the hand of laws that he had stretched out was full of cracks and was collapsing. Finally, there was a loud boom. Heaven and earth shook and all things fell. Endless bright, immortal light bloomed from it. A terrifying vortex appeared, as if it was going to pull all things in the universe into the cycle of reincarnation. At the end of the cycle of reincarnation, a petite figure with silver hair fluttering and eyes closed looked like a little fairy. How is this possible? The chaotic Tao Master of the Heavenly Hall let out an unprecedented cry of horror. Chapter 12:12. It was as if time had frozen. The 3 assassins from the Jin dynasty were all shocked like never before. The attack of a Chaos Tao Master was blocked by a little girl. What did that mean? It was even more shocking than when Jun Xiaoyao killed a mystique venerable. What's going on? The chaotic Tao Master from heaven was dumbfounded. He had never encountered such a situation before. On the other side, Jun Xiaoyao saw what happened. While he had expected something like that to happen, he was still surprised. He knew that little Evers now had a strong background, but he did not expect her to be able to unleash such great power. At this moment, the heavenly Quasi-Emperor, who had activated the seventh ancient killing formation, suddenly yelled, his eyelids twitching. Retreat! But it was too late. Little Evers now was at the end of the reincarnation cycle. Her eyes were closed and she was as beautiful as a porcelain doll. However, waves of terrifying low ripples spread out from her body. Everywhere they passed, the void was silently annihilated and collapsed. That terrifying low ripple had far exceeded the range of a seventh stage supreme. The ripple swept out. The three assassins from the Jin dynasty did not even have time to scream. Their physical bodies and primordial spirits turned into nothingness. In front of this ripple, people of any cultivation level were the same. Lesser heavenly venerables, greater heavenly venerables, supreme mystique venerables, creation divinity, and even chaotic Tao master were the same. No! The Tao masters from secluded nation and blood pagoda were horrified. In the face of this terrifying ripple, they could only resist for 1 or 2 seconds before they turned into dust too. The heavenly Tao master who had attacked was so scared that his soul almost left his body. His whole body was cold as if he had fallen into an ice cave. What kind of monster had he provoked? But then, he did not have to think about this question anymore, because he also turned into nothingness silently. For a moment the entire space fell silent. The three assassins from the Jin dynasty, except for the three quasi-emperors. The rest of the assassins were all dead. Tao masters, divine masters, mystique venerables, and heavenly venerables. None of them survived. If this scene was seen by outsiders, they would definitely be terrified. Fufeng of Gojoseon was covered in blood as he retreated. He was like a lamp that had run out of oil and his body was in tatters. To be honest, it was already a miracle that he could last this long in front of three quasi-emperors who were of a higher level than him. Seeing this, Jun Xiaoyao injected some water from the spring of life into Fufeng of Gojoseon's body. Fufeng of Gojoseon breathed a sigh of relief. However, he was still severely injured and had almost no combat power left. Damn it! The three quasi-emperors were infuriated when they saw that the rest of their people had been killed. However, little Eversnow's eyes were still closed. It was as though she was at the end of the cycle of reincarnation. Something strange. What a powerful force! Seeing this, a dark light flashed in the eyes of the secluded nation's third tribulation quasi-emperor. Then, he stretched out his hand and grabbed at little Eversnow. A quasi-emperor's attack was immensely powerful, and it was far from what a 7th-level supreme martial artist could compare to. At this moment, little Eversnow, who had her eyes closed all this time, suddenly opened them. In an instant, the heavens and the earth fell deathly silent, and the universe went silent. What kind of eyes were those? They were as clear as crystal, but with indifference and indifference, like a god overlooking the boundless universe and the reincarnation of all things. The dazzling light of reincarnation burst out. Oh no, stop! The 9-winged angel of heaven seemed to have sensed something. However, it was already too late. Ah! A miserable scream rang out. It was the secluded nation's quasi-emperor, who was holding his head and screaming. He felt that his primordial spirit was burning and was about to be pulled into an unknown cycle of reincarnation. This was horrifying. He was a quasi-emperor. If a great emperor did not appear, he would be one of the strongest. When had he ever tasted such a feeling of being on the verge of death? His primordial spirit was burning and severely injured. At the same time, his quasi-emperor body was shattering and exploding, blood splattering everywhere. Seeing this scene, the Blood Buddha quasi-emperor also felt a deep sense of fear. A dignified quasi-emperor had been forced into such a state by a little girl. However, the Blood Buddha quasi-emperor did not have time to think too much. Because little Eversnow had also turned her cold and emotionless crystal eyes to the Blood Buddha quasi-emperor. Splat! The Blood Buddha quasi-emperor was immediately severely injured and vomited large mouthfuls of blood. The quasi-emperor's body was swept by the dermic power fluctuations and exploded. F***ck, this is F***king ridiculous. Fufeng of Gojosian was stunned and could not help but curse. Just now, he had been forced into a corner by the three quasi-emperors and was severely injured and on the verge of death. But now, a little girl had instantly injured two quasi-emperors. If he had not seen it with his own eyes, who would have dared to believe it? What's going on? This is, the nine-winged angel of heaven, was the strongest of the three quasi-emperors, and had already passed 4 tribulations. There was also a hint of shock on his face, as he turned to look at Jun Xiaoyao. He found that Jun Xiaoyao's expression was calm. So, this is your trump card. The heavenly quasi-emperor's voice was bone-chilling. The 3 assassins from the divine dynasty of assassins never expected that the girl who was always by Jun Xiaoyao's side would be so terrifying. Because no one would have expected this. Previously, although Di Haotian had warned them. But who would have thought that little Evers now could even deal with a quasi-emperor? And now, looking at Jun Xiaoyao's expression, the heavenly quasi-emperor suddenly understood. Why had Jun Xiaoyao been so calm all this time? It turned out that everything was in his plan. Looking at the heavenly quasi-emperor's sharp gaze, Jun Xiaoyao said indifferently, "The best hunter often appears as the prey. Don't you understand this principle?" Hearing these sarcastic words, the heavenly quasi-emperor's eyes shot out a cold light, and his heart was filled with killing intent. Now, he only wanted to kill Jun Xiaoyao. If he did not get rid of him, the 3 assassins of the Jin dynasty would be finished. At this moment, earth-shattering screams erupted. The bodies of the 2 third tribulation quasi-emperors of secluded country and Blood Buddha completely exploded, and their primordial spirits were burned into nothingness. 2 famous quasi-emperors of the immortal realm fell just like that. They probably did not expect that they would end up in such a ridiculous situation. Finally, little Eversnow's gaze fell on the 9-winged angel of heaven. The 9-winged angel's body also shook violently. However, he gritted his teeth and took out a weapon. Suddenly, tens of thousands of rays of brilliance, incomparably dazzling, illuminated the space. It was a dazzling golden armor with many ancient patterns imprinted on it. A vast emperor's aura shook, setting off tens of thousands of waves. This was an emperor's weapon of heaven. Heaven's saint armor. The 9-winged angel roared sternly. Even Jun Xiaoyao did not expect that heaven would bring an emperor's weapon. How much did they think of him? In order to encircle and annihilate him, they were too prepared. The 9-winged angel of heaven, wearing the emperor's weapon heaven's saint armor, charged toward little Eversnow and Jun Xiaoyao. Little Eversnow emitted terrifying nomological fluctuations. This was a defensive instinct that was born after encountering danger. 2 vortexes seemed to appear in her crystal-like eyes. Those were reincarnation vortexes, as if they could pull the entire world into them. Even someone as powerful as the 9-winged angel's primordial spirit trembled violently, as if it was about to leave his body. Today, no matter what price I have to pay, I will kill you. A ruthless and resolute look flashed across the 9-winged angel's eyes. His blood, primordial spirit, and laws were all burning. Even the emperor's weapon heaven's saint armor on his body was vibrating, bursting forth with a vast emperor's aura. Jun Xiaoyao instantly understood. This quasi-emperor of heaven wanted to self-destruct and destroy everything. Chapter 12-13. The 3 great assassins of the Jin dynasty had put everything they had into this assassination attempt on Jun Xiaoyao. If they won, they would naturally obtain endless benefit. The 3 great assassins of the Jin dynasty would be able to prosper again. Moreover, if the mission was completed, there would naturally be someone to protect them. They would ascend to the 9 heavens. No matter how strong the Jun family was, they could not kill their way into the 9 heavens, because that would mean becoming enemies with all the forbidden zones of the 9 heavens. Even someone as powerful as the Jun family couldn't have done that. A single forbidden zone was enough to intimidate the heroes of the immortal region, let alone the 10 great forbidden zones. However, if they failed, the consequences would be unimaginable. Not only would they not obtain any benefits, moreover, the 3 great assassins of the Jin dynasty would usher in their darkest moment. The consequences of assassinating the son of God of the Jun family were simply unimaginable. Therefore, the eyes of the 9-winged angel of heaven were filled with ruthlessness and decisiveness. He had already become a quasi-emperor, and his temperament was naturally incomparable to the previous assassins. Jun Xiaoyao, I admit that the 3 great assassins of the Jin dynasty have underestimated you. I did not expect to fall into your hands today, but completing a mission is the highest mission of an assassin. If I die today, you will not live either. The voice of the 9-winged angel of heaven was like the whisper of the grim reaper. His entire body bloomed with brilliant light, which was the burning of laws. As a quasi-emperor, even the embryonic form of the great Tao that he had comprehended was disintegrating and burning. Moreover, the most important thing was the Emperor weapon of heaven, the heaven's sacred armor, was also triggered by the 9-winged angel and was about to explode. A 4-tribulation quasi-emperor and an emperor weapon self-destructed at the same time. The power was simply unimaginable. The 9-winged angel, like a brilliant burning meteor, crashed toward Jun Xiaoyao, little Eversnow, and the others. In an instant, all time and space seemed to have frozen. The 9-winged angel turned into a brilliant point of origin. It was like the core of the sun. Endless terrifying power swelled out. The strange thing was that there was no earth-shaking rumble. Everything was carried out in an eerie silence. A 4-tribulation quasi-emperor and an emperor weapon had self-detonated. That surge of power caused the void to crumble, creating a patch of nothingness. After a short period of strange and dead silence, finally, the voice that had been pulled away returned. A mighty rumble that sounded like the wrath of a god was heard. It was as if 10,000 bolts of lightning had exploded at the same time. It was as if 10,000 nuclear bombs had exploded at the same time. This terrifying destructive shockwave instantly broke through the divine realm's forbidden space and the heaven-bewildering array. The originally dark universe was illuminated by the intense brilliance produced by the explosion, becoming as bright as day. Rumble. The sound of the explosion was like the roar of a thunder god. The shock wave of the explosion was like a destructive wave. This part of the universe was shaken, and the void shattered. Even some ancient star areas that were thousands of miles away from this place were shaken by the aftershock. Stars were rustling and falling. What kind of fluctuation is that? How terrifying! Could it be that there's a great battle between Emperor stage experts? In the surrounding universe, some of the ancient star regions were trembling. Many of the experts were aghast. That's the shockwave of a boundary emperor's self-destruction. Some of the experts sensed the shockwave and revealed an unprecedented look of surprise. No, there's also an emperor weapon. Some of the experts were even more aghast. Who could force a boundary emperor to self-destruct along with an emperor weapon? Some of the experts wanted to find out, but they were afraid of being implicated, so they could only watch from afar. At this moment, in a part of the universe, Di Haotian's Dharma body stood in the void, looking at the dazzling flames in the distance. Those were the flames produced by the self-destruction of a boundary emperor and an emperor weapon. What a beautiful firework! A great enemy had been dealt with. Di Haotian had a faint smile on his face. The biggest variable and obstacle had been removed. Next, everything would return to the right track, just like he remembered. Next, it's the forgotten nation. The unification of the Xianting is just around the corner. Di Haotian clasped his hands behind his back and turned to leave. At the same time, the people of the Taboo family of the Nine Heavens and the Grey Clan also saw it. They were a little surprised as to why a boundary emperor had to self-destruct to kill Jun Xiaoyao. However, as long as the final result was good, everything was not a problem. The shockwave of the self-destruction spread in all directions, and at almost the same time, the Huangtian mystic realm shook violently. A vast aura burst out. Jun Tianming, one of the 8 forefathers of the Jun family, stood in the void. The anger in his eyes seemed to be able to burn the 9 worlds. He roared with endless anger. How dare you attack the son of God of our clan? Wherever the sun and moon shine, wherever the mountains and rivers go, there will be no way for you to survive. Jun Tianming's voice exploded throughout the Huangtian mystic realm, and even spread throughout the 9 heavens mystic realm. This was the anger of the Jun family. The strongest of the Jun family had sensed the explosion as soon as it happened. Something had happened to their son of God. Even the soul lamp in the family's ancestral hall was trembling. Jun Tianming's roar immediately stirred up a great commotion. What? Someone dares to attack the son of God of the Jun family? Oh my God, are they tired of living? The Jun family has already made it clear that they won't interfere if it's a fight between their peers. However, if anyone dares to bully the weak, the Jun family won't forgive them. How bold! Who has the guts to do that? Jun Tianming's roar immediately shook the entire 9 heavens mystic realm. It was not just a saying that the Jun family could turn the world upside down when they were angry. Soon, the experts of the Jun family tore open the rift and arrived at the place where Jun Xiaoyao was surrounded. Xiaoyao, a beautiful woman with long blue hair in a plain robe, tore open the rift and arrived. She was none other than Luo Xiangling. Her exquisite and beautiful face was filled with anxiety and panic. She did not expect Jun Xiaoyao would be assassinated. She was blaming herself too. If she did not stay in the Jun family but returned to the Immortal Institute with Jun Xiaoyao, the situation would be completely different. More news soon spread. Jun Xiaoyao did not die, but he was severely injured. Half of his Dao Foundation was destroyed. After all, it was the self-destruction of a boundary monarch weapon. Apart from the martial monarch realm experts, those below the martial monarch realm, even those in the high-level boundary monarch realm would be severely injured even if they managed to survive the explosion. Besides, Jun Xiaoyao was still young. Even though his cultivation was in the lesser Heaven Highness realm, he still could not withstand the explosion. Someone later saw Jun Xiaoyao being escorted back to the Jun family. Half of his chaos chi had dissipated. It was obvious that he was severely injured. Most of his Dao Foundation was destroyed. It immediately stirred an uproar among the crowd. That being said, it also triggered a great deal of anger. After all, Jun Xiaoyao was the hero who saved the immortal realm. He had ended the disaster with his own hands. Who is it? Who dares to assassinate the hero of the immortal realm? The son of God of the Jun family saved the immortal realm, yet someone is trying to assassinate him. I won't let it go if I know who it is. Many experts and factions were enraged. They declared that they would avenge Jun Xiaoyao. That being said, it was hard to tell if they were sincere or just trying to curry favor with the Jun family. Chapter 12:14. Then, another piece of news spread. The ones who surrounded Jun Xiaoyao were the infamous Jin dynasty, one of the top 3 assassins in the immortal realms. They were led by 3 boundary emperors, along with monarch weapons, ancient killing formations, and many Dao masters, godly venerables and mystique venerables, to surround Jun Xiaoyao. When this news spread out, it undoubtedly shocked everyone. The first thing that shocked them was that the Jin dynasty dared to attack the son of God of the Jun family. It was no different from courting death. Although the Jin dynasty was infamous, it was like an egg hitting a rock when compared to the Jun family. The second thing that shocked them was that the Jin dynasty's lineup was too luxurious. Apart from the top experts, there were also monarch weapons, ancient killing formations, and so on. It was enough to surround and kill a boundary emperor. In the end, they were only here to kill the son of God of the Jun family. It was ridiculous that they didn't even succeed. The whole nine heavens immortal realm began to panic after the assassination. It was as if every bush and tree was an enemy. This was because everyone knew that the June family had never been a forbearing family. Especially when the target was the June family's reverse scale, their most precious Qilin son. Many people felt that a terrifying storm was about to strike. The June family would not let it go. What? June Xiaoyao is still alive? Those idiots can't do anything right. After hearing the news that June Xiaoyao was still alive, the people of the three forbidden clans looked extremely gloomy. They couldn't imagine how June Xiaoyao was still alive. He was even able to force a boundary emperor to self-detonate. Of course, they didn't know the specifics. Therefore, the outside world didn't know how June Xiaoyao was still alive. However, many people thought it was reasonable. After all, June Xiaoyao had too many trump cards. He had used many of them when he fought against the ultimate calamity. He might have used many of his trump cards to escape death. On the other side, the people of the Grey Clan also received the news that June Xiaoyao is really lucky. However, even though he managed to escape with his life, he was severely injured. His Dao foundation was damaged, and his future potential is not great. What should we do next? Another member of the Grey Clan asked. That June Xiaoyao is practically a cripple. What happens next will depend on Zhou Tiandaozi's mood. Huntian Immortal Domain. Inside the Golden Palace where Di Haotian was, the Purple Flame Lord of Heaven appeared and reported to Di Haotian about the assassination attempt. He's actually still alive. This June Xiaoyao is really lucky. A strange look flashed across Di Haotian's silver eyes. June Xiaoyao had once again exceeded his expectations. However, even if that June Xiaoyao isn't dead, he's pretty much crippled. Even if the June family can help him recover, it will take a long time. By that time, he won't be able to keep up with the times. Purple Flame Heaven Monarch shrugged. Di Haotian was deep in thought. Logically speaking, that was indeed the case. It would take at least a few decades for June Xiaoyao to recover. In this golden age, the most important thing was to seize opportunities. In the future, June Xiaoyao would undoubtedly miss out on many opportunities. He wouldn't be as glorious as before. However, Di Haotian always felt uneasy. It seemed that if he didn't get rid of June Xiaoyao, there would always be a knot in his heart. If you don't remove the roots, it will grow again when the spring breeze blows. This time, the three assassins of the Jin dynasty are really disappointing. Di Haotian shook his head slightly. However, now that June Xiaoyao had been assassinated, the June family would naturally do their best to protect him. Therefore, for a long time, there wouldn't be such an opportunity to assassinate him. It could be said that this opportunity had been wasted by the three assassins of the Jin dynasty. Well, let's focus on the Forgotten Nation first. As for June Xiaoyao, now that he's half crippled, I'll find a chance to deal with him later. Di Haotian made a decision. At this time, the Purple Flame Lord of Heaven said, "By the way, the three assassins of the Jin dynasty sent a message saying that they want help from us, the Xian Ting." The three assassins of the Jin dynasty didn't complete their mission, but angered the June family. It could be said that they would die if they relied on themselves. Di Haotian heard this and said lightly, "The three assassins of the Jin dynasty? Have we been in contact with them?" The Purple Flame Lord of Heaven was stunned. He glanced at Di Haotian and shook his head. "Your Highness, you're really ruthless." Di Haotian was indifferent and didn't say anything. The three assassins of the Jin dynasty were already abandoned. Di Haotian wasn't the only one who was so decisive. The others like the Grey Clan and the forbidden families of the Nine Heavens were the same. The three assassins of the Jin dynasty sent people to ask for help. The three forbidden families completely ignored them. As for the Grey Clan, they couldn't even be found. This made the three assassins of the Jin dynasty feel cold to the bones. Their only hope was that this matter could be covered up. But was it possible? June Xiaoyao was the precious child of the June family, but now he was in such a state. It could be said that no one or force could stop the Jun family from taking revenge. Sure enough, not long after, in the Huangtian mystic realm's emperor state, a handsome and imposing figure stepped into the sky. It was the current head of the Jun family, Jun Xiaoyao's second uncle, and the younger brother of Jun Wuhui, Jun Wui. His eyes were cold and condensed with eternal coldness. Jun Xiaoyao was his nephew, but now he was plotted against by the assassins of the Jin dynasty. It would be fine if it was just a fight between peers, but the problem was that 3 emperor-to-be, imperial weapons, ancient killing formations, and many 7th-stage supremes were mobilized. The 3 assassins of the Jin dynasty were really shameless. The 3 assassins of the Jin dynasty dared to assassinate the son of God of our clan. How dare you? Our clan will cut off your reincarnation path and never let you be reincarnated. As Jun Wui spoke, he held a horn stained with blood in his hand. Many people were watching from afar. When they saw the bugle horn, their eyes were filled with shock. This horn was the Jun family's horn of doom. Blowing this horn meant that the Jun family was about to start an immortal war. The last time this horn was blown was during the immortal war of the Huangtian mystic realm, when the Jun family fought against 7 immortal forces alone. Now Jun Wui blew the horn again. The desolate sound of the horn echoed throughout the Huangtian mystic realm, and even spread to the 9 heavens mystic realm. This was not just an immortal war. It was an immortal war across the mystic realms. The 3 assassins of the Jin dynasty were not stationed in the Huangtian mystic realm. However, the Jun family was not the only one who was angry. The Huangtian mystic realm, Qingzhou, was the territory of the Jiang family of the ancients. The Jiang family of the ancients, a family that kept a low profile compared to the Jun family, no longer kept a low profile. An old man stepped into the sky. His eyes were filled with fury that could burn the 9 realms. It was Jun Xiaoyao's grandfather, Jiang Daoxiu. Jun Xiaoyao is my grandson and the young master of the Jiang family. The 3 assassins of the Jin dynasty are audacious and reckless. This time, all of them will be removed from the mystic realm. None of them will escape. As soon as Jiang Daoxiu finished speaking, a blood-stained flag was fluttering in the wind. It was stained with blood. The blood emitted a dazzling brilliance and emitted a monstrous emperor's aura. This was a war flag stained with the blood of the Jiang family's late emperor. The Iron Blood War flag. When this flag was out, it meant that the Jiang family's immortal war had begun. This caused a stir in the entire Huangtian mystic realm. The Jiang family did not participate in the immortal war the last time the Jun family started. However, this time the Jiang family also took action. From this, it could be seen that Jun Xiaoyao's status in the Jiang family was unparalleled. They started an immortal war for one person. However, this was not the end. In the void of the Huangtian mystic realm, a bronze immortal palace floating with chaotic energy appeared. Figures appeared one after another. They were the upper echelons of the imperial family. The one in the lead had golden qi and blood surging. His battle intent was shocking, and his eyes emitted cold lightning. It was Wu Hu. The 3 assassins of the Jin dynasty dared to assassinate the master of the imperial family. There will be no way for you to survive. Whoosh! A stone stirred up 1,000 ripples. The Jun family, the Jiang family, and the imperial family, the 3 top forces, spoke together and started an immortal war. This war was destined to go down in history. Chapter 12:15. Oh my God, I saw it. I really saw it. I saw an immortal battle across the celestial realms in my lifetime. In the Huangtian mystic realm, many cultivators were trembling with excitement. The Jun family had also started an immortal battle before, but it was only limited to the Huangtian mystic realm. But this time it was different. The so-called immortal battle across the celestial realms was a much bigger battle. Often, many immortal forces would join forces to cross the endless star realms to eliminate the immortal forces of other celestial realms. This kind of action of crossing the celestial realms to go to other foreign celestial realms was a huge risk. It could be said that without enough foundation and capital, no force was qualified to start an immortal battle across the celestial realms. Because who knew if they would fall into a trap or a dangerous place after being teleported to other celestial realms. But the June family had the capital. If the June family didn't have the right, then no other immortal force had the right to do so. It could be said that the June family was really angry and wanted the three assassins to pay with their blood. Of course, the June family, the Jiang family, and the Emperor's court were not the only ones who were really involved. After all, Jun Xiaoyao had killed the ultimate disaster and became the hero of the celestial realms. A group of people were also very respectful and wanted to help. The son of God of the Jun family saved the celestial realms, but now he is being treated like this. The Yi family is also very angry. Some experts of the Yi family of the clan of the ancients participated in the battle. Of course, it couldn't be an immortal battle of the entire family, but some experts wanted to join. After all, Jun Xiaoyao and Yi Guchen of the Yi family had a good relationship before. This time, the Yi family showed their good intentions. Our demon empress said that whoever dares to hurt the son of God of the Jun family is going against her. The demon god palace also sent experts. Jun Xiaoyao did his best for the celestial realms, but now he is being treated like this. The three assassins of the Jin dynasty are really shameless. Some experts of the demonic celestial cult took action. Xiao Maxian, the genius of this cult, also had a good relationship with Jun Xiaoyao. Jun Xiaoyao was once the holy son of our Holy Spirit College. We can't turn a blind eye to this. The Holy Spirit College, a famous college in the Huangtian mystic realm, had also sent someone to fight. This was enough to shake the entire immortal realm. Even though these powers did not go all out, they only sent out a portion of their expert. But when added together, it was still a powerful force. Of course, not all forces were like this. Forces like the Ji family, the human immortal sect, and the Little Western Paradise didn't do anything. They didn't send anyone either. The Jun family would not resort to moral coercion. In fact, the fact that the other forces sent people to help was just icing on the cake. Then, the Nine Heavens Immortal Academy also expressed their stance. Immortal Academy's Great Elder would also personally take action, participate in this battle. There were also many forces that were on good terms with Jun Xiaoyao or the Jun family. It could be said that the influence of this battle of eternity that spanned across the immortal realms was absolutely unprecedented. The horn of destruction of the Jun clan echoed across the Nine Heavens immortal realm. This immortal family that had been passed down since ancient times was like a raging lion awakening. Rumble. The Jun family was located in the imperial state. The vast army blotted out the sky. Those were the four armies of the Jun family: the wind, forest, fire, mountain, and forest. Millions of soldiers had appeared out of nowhere. Other than that, there were also 500,000 cavalrymen. Many of them were 9th level saint. They were the main force of this battle. It's the Jun family's Gantian Holy Guards. Some of the experts from the major forces who were watching from afar exclaimed in surprise. This was a terrifying and invincible army of the Jun family. At this moment, the commander of the Gantian Mountain Holy Guards, a strong supreme being, shouted coldly. Those who offend the Jun family will be punished no matter how far away they are. Rumble. Terrifying auras emerged from the ancestral shrine of the Jun family. Jun family's 18th ancestor, 17th ancestor, 16th ancestor, 15th ancestor, 14th ancestor, 13th ancestor, 12th ancestor, 11th ancestor, 10th ancestor, and 9th ancestor. The great ancestors of the Jun family appeared with extremely cold gazes. Especially the 18th ancestor, the 16th ancestor, and the others, who had watched Jun Xiaoyao grow up with their own eyes. Now that Jun Xiaoyao had been assassinated, their eyes were filled with incomparably cold, murderous intent. Jun Tianming, the eighth ancestor, appeared with the same cold and solemn expression. They should be here soon. Jun Tianming raised his head and looked at the sky. The main force of this battle was not even the great ancestors. In a mysterious ancient land in the mystic realm, an old man was holding a hatchet and chopping down an ancient tree that towered into the depths of the universe. Chopping down trees was a very common thing. However, in the hands of this old man, there seemed to be a mysterious Tao connotation. If anyone saw this tree, they would be so shocked that their scalp would go numb. This was an ancient chaotic tree that took root in the chaos. It could be said that experts below the boundary emperor realm would not be able to chop down this tree. Even if they got slightly closer, they would be shattered by the chaotic chi that was emitted from it. However, this old man was leisurely chopping down the tree like a woodcutter. At a certain moment, the old man suddenly stopped what he was doing. This was because he heard the desolate sound of a horn. The horn of destruction? This is the second time it has sounded in this era. Are there really so many people who are blind? The old man shook his head and sighed. Then, the hatchet in his hand was swung down. The universe and the stars seemed to have been split into two halves by this hatchet. The ancient chaotic tree that towered into the depths of the universe suddenly collapsed with a loud bang, splashing countless meteorites and dust. This ancient chaotic tree is a meeting gift for the little child in the family. It's time for these old bones of mine to go out and exercise. The old man, carrying the ancient chaotic tree on his shoulder and the hatchet in his hand, leisurely walked out of this mysterious ancient land. The Jun family's fifth forefather, Jun Taihao, had come out of seclusion. In another mysterious place in the mystic realm, a place called the Dimensional Star. An endless river of stars flowed, filled with the power of the stars. And in this endless dimensional star, surprisingly, there was a woman lying in the middle of it. This woman was not a graceful and beautiful goddess, nor did she have the domineering aura of an empress. She wore a gorgeous dress that was as bright as the stars. Her gentle face even gave off the feeling of a pretty girl from a humble family. She had willowy eyebrows and cherry lips, delicate as a spring flower and charming as the autumn moon. She even seemed a little weak. She was as calm as a beautiful flower shining on water, and her movements were as weak as a willow branch swaying in the wind. However, the endless power of the stars in this dimensional star was constantly pouring into her delicate body. At a certain moment, this gentle and beautiful woman opened a pair of bright starry eyes. The family's doomsday horn has sounded. It's time to go out and exercise. The woman opened her small mouth, an endless power of the stars poured into her delicate body. The majestic power emitted from her delicate body formed a sharp contrast with her gentle face and temperament. She looked like a very young woman. She was the Jun family's fourth ancestor, Jun Taiyan. The mystic realm, in the dam world near the realm sea. Inside an ancient cave abode with broken laws. A middle-aged man dressed in an imperial robe, with 9 golden dragons coiled around him. A thick layer of dust had accumulated on his body. It was unknown how long he had been in seclusion here. At a certain moment, he heard the somewhat desolate sound of a horn coming from the mystic realm. A pair of eyes that were like the sun and moon in the sky slowly opened. The moment he opened his eyes, the entire ancient cavern was trembling, even the dam world was trembling slightly. First, a strange curse appeared in my body, then the doomsday horn. Do you really think that everyone in the Jun family can be bullied? The man slowly got up, and a terrifying emperor's aura filled the air. It was as if an emperor had awakened. The 9 golden dragons on his body shone brightly, and they intertwined with each other to form a 9-dragon godly sword. Everything under the heavens is the emperor's land. Everyone under the heavens is the emperor's subject. The Jun family's emperor realm ancestor, third ancestor Jun Taihuang, came from the Dam world with the 9-dragon godly sword in his hand.